The stream will begin shortly. What's up, everybody? This is the Jedi. And while I'm aware of the hour across the country, I'm not concerned because I feel very convicted about sharing this. Back in 2015, I produced what I feel is the most comprehensive and clear documentary about the attacks of 9/11. Like many of us, on the day of, I was in the boat with everybody else. I thought that what they were telling us was the truth. There was a part of my soul that said that's what they get. I kind of just knew inherently and instinctively as an African that this was not about me or my people, that we're just visitors here. And it wasn't until 2005. I was in the mosque. I was with some of my brothers, and we were talking about politics and world events and all of it. And one of my brothers, from, every time I say this, I forget his name, or his country. Inshallah, it'll come to me. Anyways, one of my brothers said to me, I have something I need to give you. And what he gave me was a copy of Loose Change 9/11, the second edition. I saw it, and as they say, my wig blew off. Because not only was it, I don't think I was surprised by it, because I'm an African, and this is where I live. So I wasn't really surprised, but it was more like a, oh, that's what's up, you know. And then there was some things that made me realize I had pieces of a puzzle. I always tell you, sometimes you can hold a piece of a puzzle and not know you have it, till somebody else comes along and shows you a piece that looks like you, and go, oh, I have that. Excuse me, I have that. For me, it was because I lived in Maryland at the time, but that morning I was out making rounds to accounts as a Xerox technician. I was the regional specialist. And to make a long story short, because I think I tell it in the documentary, I remember seeing the footage and the reporter standing in front of the Pentagon saying, there's no evidence of a plane anywhere near the Pentagon. Whatever was here, you could pick it up in small pieces in your hand, but there's no evidence of a plane being anywhere near the Pentagon, end quote. I saw that in Loose Change, but I remember seeing it the day of. because I had rushed. The closest thing to where I was at, I was near Andrews Air Force Base, and I rushed to my best friend's house because he has a basement. And he was rushing home from the Watergate building. And we just happened to get there just about the same time when we rushed into the basement, left our car sitting in the driveway, doors open, engine running, because we thought it was the end of the world. Wallahi, we thought it was the end of the world. And so in 2005, my brother gives me this video. I then made 1 billion copies of it. At that time, I was also managing an apartment complex. And you couldn't live there if you didn't watch this video. I just was burning copies. Here, you have to watch this. You have to watch this. You must watch this. You must. I gave it to everybody, my family, everything. I needed the world to know. And I did my own research on top of that. I followed up on a lot of things in the video. What I have compiled in this piece is the pathology. I begin you back at another major event, and I walk us through that day from moment to moment to moment, and I'm bringing you rare videos that a lot of people have never seen. I'm bringing you testimonials. I'm bringing you footage. I'm bringing you interviews. I mean, there's a lot. This video, when I did it back in 2015, I think it was 3 weeks that I was in production on this piece. I even went through a couple of wardrobe changes even, you know. I was so passionate about this. But the last thing I will say, the most important reason that motivated me to do this is because I didn't see no people that look like me doing documentaries about 9/11. All the documentaries and everything that I would see was from people that don't look like me, don't smell like me, don't walk like me, don't talk like me, ain't me. And I wanted to do something from the African perspective. And that is what I have achieved. And why I chose to do it at this ridiculous hour is because this is the time that everybody was getting up and starting on their way to work. And yet, this cabal had this evil planned with all their video trickery and their lies, and they had their stories ready to go, and here it was. And so this snaps you back into that day. It allows you to put your own self back into where you were at, and to recall your own pathology into wisdom, if you ever came into it. If you didn't, I promise you, on everything holy, at the end of this documentary, you will be fully enlightened and you will be among the wise. So sit back and let your boy do his thing. Let us begin.
What's up, everybody? This is the Jedi. You guys, I'm back again now with another critical video. When I say critical video, I mean basically I'm doing a video about something that means something. You know, the majority of the videos that are on my channel are stuff that means something. Okay, you guys, 9/11. I'm doing this video about 9/11, and this is gonna be a dossier. This is gonna be a full presentation. I'm using all the tools that I've got to be able to present a cohesive story for you. You would think this many years after 9/11, everybody on the planet would know everything there is to know about 9/11. But alas, no. There are still people out there that are very ignorant and don't know what's going on with 9/11. I'm also bringing this topic today because of everything that's going on in the media right now. You've got the plane crash, the Malaysian plane crash, which I suggest to you is another event that is staged by these goddamn devilish Zionist people, alright? And then, of course, at the same time that's happening, oh my God, we have all of a sudden, they want you to think that the Palestinians are attacking the Israelis again, and that's bullshit. I want you to understand. So the message is what I'm about. That's why I come to YouTube, you guys. I'm not here for popularity, and I'm not here just for bragging rights so I can say, look how many people I got following me. I'm here to put out videos. I would love to have 1 billion followers. So if you're watching this video for the first time, you're just getting to know the Jedi, please subscribe to my channel for the love of God. But not for the sake that I can have bragging rights of all these people I have subscribing to me. I want you to subscribe to me so that I can build an army of people that are getting my message, and then I want you to share those videos, and then it goes forward and it goes forward and it goes forward. I'm here for a movement, you guys, not popularity. I need you to understand that. All right. So with everything that's jumping off in the press right now, with those events, and I'm telling you that a lot of stuff is swirling right now. And everything that we're going through right now, why you got to take your shoes off at the airport, why you got to get there 2 hours in advance, why every time you call up even the cable company, they got to know all your whole life and what color's your piss and all of it. And just all the shit that I can't name, but you guys know what I'm talking about. All of that, the Patriot Act, all this spying that's going on, all of it is predicated on this lie. All right? Now, this is, again, one of my lengthy videos, so I want you guys to settle in, get you some popcorn, get you some chips, get you a Snickers if you need to, whatever, get a cocktail if you need to. I don't drink, but if you need a cocktail, get you some Jack Daniels or something. And I really need you to sit and really absorb this. Another reason why I'm doing this is because if you go and look around the internet, I don't see black people really doing anything about damn 9/11. All right? I don't see it. So that's another reason we're bringing this. My people tend to be so uneducated about some of the big events that affect the world. So that's why I came to YouTube, because I thought I could fill that void. I'm not just here for popularity. I came to YouTube to do good. All right. Now, I'm suggesting to you. I'm going to show you how 9/11 is going to be a precursor to some other shit that's brewing. Because now they're bringing in Russia and Ukraine, and you have to be very suspect of all these things that are going on, you guys. You have to, and I'm here to ring the alarm. Now, you've heard me say in some of my other videos that nothing just becomes, all right? That everything has a point of origin, and then there's a developmental stage, and then and then it becomes to fruition, and it becomes whatever it is. All of us, we started as a sperm seed, as a sperm seed, and then the sperm went and hollered at the egg, and and then you went through the incubation of being an embryo, and then a fetus, and then and all that, and then you were born, and then here you are, and oh my God, now you're here watching me on a YouTube video. Alright, so everything begins that way. No matter what it is. It could be a conversation, it could be a plant, it could be anything in life has a point of origin, including us. So I'm here to say to you that 9/11, the march to 9/11, all the shit that's happened since it, and all the shit that I'm foreseeing that's coming, begin on November 22nd, 1963. This was the day that President John Fitzgerald Kennedy was assassinated. All right. Now, I wasn't on Earth at the time that Kennedy was assassinated, and I don't know what age I was when I knew that there was more. There was another school of thought out there about what happened in that assassination, other than what I had been taught in school. I don't know what age I was, but whatever age I was, from that age to this, I've been obsessed with the Kennedy assassination. If you want to know something about the Kennedy assassination, holler at your boy, all right? So one of the reasons I've been obsessed with it is because I always wonder what would have happened. What would we have been had he lived? What if that event hadn't taken place on that Friday, that beautiful Friday noon? November 22nd, 1963. And I'm suggesting to you that day began the march to 9/11. All right? Because the people didn't stand up then. All right? It was not enough outrage And then they were allowed to set up their little committee and the commission, and we investigated. Oh, it was just exactly what we said, that it was a lone gunman. All right? And then they classified the files to be secret until a year when none of us will be on the earth, which is another sign of the stench of conspiracy. I want to be pointing that out to you in this video as well. I've got a lot of videos and a lot of stuff that I'm going to be showing you in this video to try and bring together the complete thought. You will leave this video, hopefully, very pissed off, all right? We want that. We want you to be pissed. I want you to be throwing things, and I want throwing things. And I want you to be pissed off and educated. But I also want you to be inspired and motivated to now go and act, all right? So, that there was no, the people weren't really protesting it then. So if we let them get away with killing a president of the United States, all right, then it's open season on anything else they want to do. And we cannot go to sleep on this 9/11 issue, guys. It is the single most issue that affects every single thing that we do. I particularly am pissed off about 9/11 because I'm an American Muslim, all right? And I'm just like anybody else that you would know, and I'm a very likable person and all that stuff, all right? But my religion has been tied to this bullshit, and that's another reason why I have an interest in people knowing the truth, all right? It's very important. It's very important, all right? Because they've taken this event now to villainize 1.7 billion people. If you're a Christian out there watching me, Timothy McVeigh blew up the damn Oklahoma building, if you believe that. But we'll go with that lie. He blew up the Oklahoma building, all right? How about the Enola Gay that dropped the bombs on Nagasaki and Hiroshima, okay? How about all the people that this country has killed in Vietnam and all the wars and stuff? I could go on, but my point is that they don't ever tie that and say, well, look how bad Christianity is, all right? You can't take a few people that are protecting their land, because our country's been attacking these places since most of us have been on the earth, not because they've done anything wrong, but because they have shit that America wants. And the white-ass, Zionist-ass, fucking racist-ass, Satan-ass America never asks for anything. It'd be enough to just go to these people and ask to negotiate for the resources and stuff they have. No. The white man wants to take what he wants. Just like he came and took black people from our very continent and then took everything from us. This is the same thing. All right? So they villainized an entire religion based on a few people. How does a few people, even if 100 fucking suicide people blew themselves up today, how does that equal 1.7 billion people? It doesn't. All right? So that's another reason I'm doing this video. Now, November 22nd, 1963 began the march to this, you guys. And I'm going to tie it in and show you how it's the same script. Different actors, but it's the same fucking script. All right? I want you to be with me on this video. All right? Now, first, I want to start with the footage that we all know from November 22nd, Friday, November 22nd, 1963. Let's go to that footage. That was Friday, November 22nd, 1963. And with the firing of that last rifle shot, I'm suggesting to you that that was the beginning of the march to 9/11, and it was also the day that the entire trajectory of our country changed. I'm telling you that. I believe that. As I say, I've done a lot of research on this Kennedy assassination. Now, there's one other little piece that I want to show you because I think it shows context for the stench of conspiracy that I'm going to be laying out in this video. I want to show you now a small piece of video that is rarely seen. It's on the internet, all right? But a lot of people don't see this, all right? And I'm going to show you now where you had when the Kennedys are leaving Love Field after they just arrived in Dallas, how the Secret Service, the actor that's there acting on behalf of all the conspirators, he's the first guy now, and he's the first one that's in. Slow down, Jedi. He is the one who is now putting into play the stand-down order of the Secret Service agents that normally would be riding on the back of the president's limousine. Let's go to that footage.
Everything seemed normal as the president's Secret Service bodyguards kept their ever-watchful eyes on the crowd. Everything seemed normal as the president's motorcade began its journey. Everything seemed normal. That is, up until this instant. What took place is so odd that we're going to examine the scene 4 more times. Watch the left side of your screen. The arrow points to Agent in Charge, Amory Roberts, as he stands in the Secret Service follow-up car and motions with his hand. What he is doing is calling away the president's 2 most important bodyguards, the bodyguards whose job was to protect the president's back by riding on the bumper of the limousine throughout the motorcade. Watch again as he stands and orders the agents running at the rear of the president's car away. Watch the confusion inside the follow-up car that results. Now watch the right side of your screen. The arrow points to one of 2 agents whose job was to hop aboard the bumper and act as human shields. He's obviously perplexed. Watch as he shrugs his shoulders 3 times in dismay, each shrug more dramatic than the last. As you watch this scene for the final time, ask yourself, is this the kind of conduct you would expect from an agency that routinely sends an advance team to a city a month or more prior to the president's arrival in order to make preparations? Now ask yourself if the assassination could have taken place at all had those men been on the bumper during the motorcade. This is the rear of the presidential limousine. The back bumper is specially designed with a platform on both the right and left sides. There are also handrails on both sides of the trunk. This is where the agent should have been to provide the president even minimal security. The president, unaware of the treachery behind him and the danger waiting for him ahead, continued on to his death.
You saw that, all right? And you saw the Secret Service guy like, what the fuck? Like, this is protocol. What are you doing? You know what I'm saying? Why I showed you that is because I'm trying to show you not only was there a stand-down order on 9/11, all right? Kennedy, stand-down order. 9/11, stand-down order, all right? No fighters were responding to, so how was the second plane ever hit the second tower when everybody in the world knew that the first tower had already been hit, all right? But no fighters, so you had a stand-down order, all right? So I'm also showing you that to show you also you can be a part of a conspiracy and not even know you're part of it. Because, a lot of times when I talk to people about 9/11, they go, well, it would be a lot of people would have to be involved for there to be conspiracy. No, bitch. No, bitch. You wouldn't. And just in that, yes, you had the Dallas police, and there was, and what you guys don't know also, there was an order that the motorcade, that the police motorcycles were supposed to stay behind the presidential motorcade. But I'll get into that when I do a Kennedy assassination video that's dedicated to that. But why I'm mentioning this now is because you had these Secret Service agents who went to work that day. They're there to protect the president. That's their job. That's what they've been doing. But now you just needed one guy who was part of the planners, who was the representative of the devils. He was there. He was their point guy. All right? You make sure those Secret Service agents aren't on the back of that damn limousine so we have a clear shot to President Kennedy. All right? All right. So that was the moment, you guys, that it all began. That was the march. That moment, that last, when that rifle fired, that is what gave us current day existence in this country, I suggest to you. All right? Now, I want to make sure that I follow my storyboard so that I line everything up the way that I want to line it up for you. I want to be able to tell it to you in a semi-chronological order that everybody could understand. All right? Now, moving now to the Pentagon. We're going to start with the Pentagon, and then we'll move into the Twin Towers in New York, and then we'll wrap it up at the end. All right. So again, context. Remember, I say everything starts at a point of origin. Now, Bush, what I don't include in the video, because I'm just going to tell you about it, and you can go look it up for yourself, is, remember, Bush stole the election in Florida. Bush was never elected, people. And if any of you racist fucks, you right-wing fuckers are out there watching this video, listen, I don't give a damn, because you can't change history, and you can't. Facts are facts. Fact is, Bush was not elected. Catherine fucking Harris, who was the Secretary of State, went ahead and certified the count on the vote in Florida before it was over. And Jeb Bush, Bush's goddamn brother, was the governor of the fucking state, okay? If you don't think the fix is in already, I got one more for you. Bush's father had appointed Clarence Suck My Dick Thomas to the goddamn Supreme Court. And he was the deciding vote that handed the election to Bush when it went to the Supreme Court. All right? Again, America has a 5-minute attention span. You forget shit that even happened. I'm sure probably even a lot of you guys are going, oh, yeah, huh? Yeah, huh? Because I'm just re-ringing the bell. All right? And that's another reason I want you to watch my videos, because I want you to be in a state of consciousness where shit don't get past you. I'm here to serve, you guys. Like I said, I'm not here for popularity. But do subscribe to my channel. So now I want to go, and now remember, when Bush was in office, the 8 months before all this jumped off, Bush couldn't get anything through Congress. The whole country was pissed off. We weren't having it, all of it. All right? But what people don't know is a little known thing. Now, and I'm bringing this because nowadays you always hear about, oh, look at all the spending Obama's doing. Look at the spending Obama's doing. Okay? So another reason why this video is important, you guys. Look at all the spending he's doing. He's spending, he's spending, he's spending. Okay, I'm going to show you a clip now of the day before 9/11 when fucking Donald Rumsfeld, remember the Secretary of Defense, that fucking shriveled up, prune, lying ass Zionist fuck devil, all right, when he was saying that the Pentagon couldn't account for some $2.3 trillion. If you work like retail or something, if you're out there in the sound of my voice and you just come up like $5 short on your damn drawer, you're out of there, sister girl. Feel me? But somehow $2.3 trillion, oh, it's not, and not only was it not a scandal, but the next day all the shit jumped off. All right? He said that shit on Monday. On Tuesday, the shit happened, and then nobody has ever mentioned it since then. So let's go to Donald fucking Rumsfeld's ass. All right? And let me show you that footage right now. Let's go.
Pentagon. The day before 9/11, Secretary of Defense Donald Rumsfeld declared war, not on foreign terrorists.
The adversary is closer to home. It's the Pentagon bureaucracy.
He said money wasted by the military poses a serious threat.
In fact, it could be said that it's a matter of life and death.
Rumsfeld promised change, but the next day, the world changed. And in the rush to fund the war on terrorism, the war on waste seems to have been forgotten.
My '03 budget calls for more than $48 billion in new defense spending.
More money for the Pentagon when its own auditors admit the military cannot account for 25% of what it already spends.
According to some estimates, we cannot track $2.3 trillion in transactions.
$2.3 trillion with a T. That's $8,000 for every man, woman, and child in America.
So that was damn Donald S. Rumsfeld, all right? And you heard that would be like $8,000 for every man, woman, and child in goddamn America. I don't know about y'all, but I could use $8 grand on any damn day. All right. So, now, after this all jumped off, you know, they were talking about how the world changed. Again, this is the stench of conspiracy, you guys. Again, you're going to hear that. I'm going to be saying that throughout this video, and I'm going to be showing you, another word you're going to be hearing from me is anomaly. All right? Anomaly. Well, I'm going to tell you something. The world didn't fucking change. All right? If my next door neighbor's house collapses, if every damn house on my damn street collapses tomorrow, that doesn't change the world. All right? Even if somebody blows them up, that doesn't change the world. All right? Again, it's another one of the signs of the it's one of the earmarks of the stench of conspiracy. We've already got a plan of some shit we want to do. Oh my God! Look, those 3 buildings were attacked out. Oh my God! You know, then somehow that automatically means now the world has changed. No, the world didn't change. All right. You just heard me say 3 buildings. A lot of you guys don't know that there was 3 buildings that were destroyed on 9/11. A lot of people, most people I go up to, and I just be in a supermarket anywhere, I go, how many buildings were destroyed on 9/11? They go, 2, it's Twin Towers. You're going to see in this video that no, my people, there was a 3rd building, and I suggest to you it is the smoking gun, and that's why you don't know about it. All right? But we'll get into that as I move through the video. All right. Now I want to go to this first opening footage of that details the attack on the Pentagon. And I want you to be aware that the first anomaly, again, the word I told you you're going to hear a lot of. So you got the Pentagon, all right? Let's say you're at the top end of it. Well, you're on that side and I'm over here. Where you're at is where Donald Rumsfeld's fucking office is at, all right? And the plane is coming from behind you. But no, it goes around, makes this sweeping turn that only a fighter could make, and comes around to the other side. That second anomaly, here it comes, that it goes around to makes the sweeping turn around to the side of the Pentagon that only weeks before had been reinforced to withstand some of everything. All right, that side of the building had been totally redone and refortified. All right, there's your first 2 anomalies. All right, just like go back to Kennedy. Oswald was supposed to have been a crap shot, and he was just a loner, and nobody knew him, and all this shit. But on the day of the assassination, he's able to pull off the most amazing marksmanship with a fucking gun that's ever been seen by any mankind on the earth. All right? Again, it's the mark of the stench of conspiracy. The stench of conspiracy. Anytime you have a bunch of anomalies and shit that just it never would happen, either you need to believe that shit is a conspiracy, or you need to immediately go to fucking Vegas because it's open season. You're going to win everything you play. All right? You can't have all these damn anomalies. When you have anomalies after anomaly after anomaly, that is the sign, that is the earmark, the footprint of the stench of conspiracy. I'm telling you. All right. So let's go to now that footage that outlines the attack of the Pentagon, and I'll come back and we'll talk about it on this side. Let's go.
Unlike the attack on the World Trade Center, the attack on the Pentagon was not broadcast on live television. In fact, within the first hours of the attack, the FBI had confiscated video footage from dozens of locations, the vast majority of which has never been released. All of the images that the public does have were taken in the aftermath of the event. These available images left many puzzled as to how the damage could have been caused by the impact of a Boeing 757. There was a distinct lack of visible airplane debris on the lawn in front of the building, and very little reported inside. Although a relatively few amount of scraps and plane parts were photographed, none have been positively identified as belonging to Flight 77 or tail number N644AA, and there were no photographs of large fuselage sections, wings, or recognizable pieces of the tail, as is usually the case after a plane crash. Additionally, although this image of the damage after the roof collapsed is typically what is used by the media, the pre-collapse damage of the building seemed incompatible with the dimensions of a 757. Windows were still intact where the vertical stabilizer would have hit. Although these windows were considered blast-proof, it's not reasonable to suggest that they would be 757-proof. Oddly, just beneath these windows, right in the center of the hole, column 14AA on the second floor remained intact. The columns in the area where the right wing and engine would have entered appeared to have been blown up and out, as opposed to having been pushed in, as would be expected if a plane had impacted. The damage is primarily at ground level, indicating that the massive Boeing would had to have slid on its belly into the bottom floor of the building, with the huge RB-211 engines digging into the concrete. And yet there is a conspicuous lack of damage to the foundation in all of the aftermath photos. The following plane crash examples show how damage and charring is to be expected. Yet none of these images from the Federal Emergency Management Agency, taken by photographer Jocelyn Augustino on September 21, 2001, a mere 10 days after the event, show any signs of damage to the foundation at all. The lack of visible foundation damage is underscored by an important scientifically validated fact that also fatally contradicts what we have been told. Using the reported speed and other values from the 2006 released NTSB alleged black box data, pilots for 9/11 Truth has calculated the G-forces required for a 757 to descend to the level of the light poles and pull up to enter the building low and level as required by the physical damage, and found it to be aeronautically impossible. This is the case if we simply consider the obstacles and decline in topography in relation to the official flight path, but it gets much worse if we factor in the NTSB reported altitude of 699 feet above sea level. So the physics of flight mathematically prove the official story impossible.
Okay, you've seen this now. You saw, more importantly, you saw the pre-damage of the Pentagon. All right, I saw that footage, you guys. I'm going to tell you that I've been to the Pentagon. I have to tell you this. You saw the pre-damage, or the pre-collapse damage of the Pentagon. I'm telling you, it was a 16-foot by 16-foot hole. There was no plane that could have fit in that damn hole. All right? There was no plane that hit the Pentagon. No plane. All right? Do I know exactly what hit the Pentagon? No, I don't. But that's why there needs to be another investigation. All right? I would suspect it was a missile. All right? Because I think the damage to the Pentagon was indicative of a missile. Certainly not an airplane. All right? But they never show you that footage I just showed you there. They only show you after the upper ring has collapsed, and they use that when they want you to sing "My Country Fucking 'Tis of Thee" and feel all romantically, in mourning and shit over the damn 9/11. All right, don't buy into that. They never show that first fucking footage of where there was. You could see there was no damage. There was no damage to the damn Pentagon. All right. The other thing I want to point out was that, having lived in the nation's capital, I can tell you that the D.C. airspace is the most protected airspace on the planet Earth. You've got the White House there, so that's the president. You've got the National Mall with all the monuments and all that stuff there. And you have the Pentagon, all right? And the fact that it is the nation's capital. It is the most protected airspace on the planet. I was going to tell you a minute ago, I've been to the Pentagon. I used to live in Oxon Hill, Maryland. All right, I moved to Oxon Hill, Maryland back in 1995. I moved there from Atlanta, and I used to go over that damn 14th Street Bridge every goddamn day into Crystal City, you know? And so, but just shortly after I arrived there, when I first started going over to Crystal City in the mornings to take one of my brothers to work, I got lost coming back one day and ended up in this huge parking lot. There was a shuttle bus coming towards me. I flagged it down, and I asked the sister that was driving. I said, "Excuse me, how do I get back over the bridge to get back to Oxon Hill?" She gave me the directions, and I said, "By the way, what is this? What is this building? It's a huge parking lot, this massive building." And she goes, "Oh, that's the Pentagon." I'm like, "What?" So I immediately started ducking down in my car because I thought I'm about to be shot right now. Because not in my wildest dreams, I'd seen the Pentagon on TV, but it's the Pentagon. So you don't think you can just roll up on the Pentagon? It's the Pentagon. So, anyways, but why I'm sharing that with you is because what I noticed was all the cameras that were in the light poles, the parking lot lights, all the cameras, and then on the ridge line of the damn building, there was just all these cameras that stood out. But again, sometimes you guys, you can hold a piece to a puzzle and don't know you have a piece. All right? It could happen for the littlest thing. You could just know something and not know that it means anything, and you could be someplace and something comes up and you go, ah, that's a true aha moment. All right? That's what that's about. The other thing is that anything that flies around goddamn DC airspace has to have a military transponder. You guys all know what Air Force One is, but there's also that helicopter that you see the president on, the Black Hawk helicopter. It's a green helicopter with the white top, and you see the president waving on the lawn, and he goes to get in the helicopter. That's Marine One, all right? When the president is flying around damn DC, that's the military transponder knows that that's the president and no need to shoot that down. The Pentagon has surface-to-air missiles and all that shit. It has its own defense system that will fire at will, all right, unless it has a friendly code. So that's another reason why we know there's some bullshit with this plane, because the only way that plane would have been able to get near the damn Pentagon without being shot down is if it had a friendly military transponder, all right? Very important to know that. Very important to know that. Also, in the clip, they didn't show this in the clip or talk about it, but I want to say to you that years ago, when Bush Sr. was the president, there was a plane there was a jetliner that was en route to, and maybe he wasn't president then, I don't remember, but anyways, there was a jet that was en route to get damn Bush in D.C., but on its final approach, it clipped one light pole, and the whole plane crashed and burned. All right? A lot of people don't know that. I couldn't find that footage, but I'm telling you, go look it up. One light pole, and they want you to believe that this plane came across all these damn things, these damn light poles, unscathed, and hit the goddamn Pentagon. More lies. And also, another sign of the stench and the footprint of conspiracy. All right? All right. Now, I want to show you a news clip that I actually saw on the day of 9/11. I lived in Maryland, but I want to show you this news clip first, and then we'll talk about it on the other side, because this is a news clip that they never show, but it proves that not only was there no plane that hit the Pentagon, but it also illustrates to you how the fucking media was all talking like regular, sensible people that day, all right? Until after they got their fucking Zionist memo that told them all to shut the fuck up and don't talk about this. Then it all changed. But on that day, all the information was coming out. And I think this clip testifies to that. All right, let's go to this clip.
From my close-up inspection, there's no evidence of a plane having crashed anywhere near the Pentagon. The only site is the actual site of the building that's crashed in. And as I said, the only pieces left that you can see are small enough that you could pick up in your hand. There are no large tail sections, wing sections, a fuselage, nothing like that anywhere around, which would indicate that the entire plane crashed into the side of the Pentagon and then caused the side to collapse. Now, even though if you look at the pictures of the Pentagon, you see that the floors have all collapsed, that didn't happen immediately. It wasn't until almost about 45 minutes later that the structure was weakened enough that all of the floors collapsed.
Okay, you heard it right there from a news reporter. No evidence of a plane being anywhere near the Pentagon, end quote. All right? All right? You guys, if you're just learning this stuff for the first time, I swear that's why I'm doing this. If I get one view on this, if that one view happens to be somebody that just didn't know any of this stuff, I have done what I came to do. All right? I'm also asking you to share this video with everything. Put it on Facebook with all your people on Facebook. Put it on Twitter. Share it with everybody. This is an ongoing issue, you guys. This is not history. This is current. All right? So you saw there, he said no plane ever being anywhere near the Pentagon. All right? Now,
okay, let me break in here for just a couple things. First of all, I want you to know that I do see your comments, you guys. I don't sign in to YouTube on my phone because I don't like how stuff gets linked, and it's just more ways for this devil to track you and all that kind of stuff. You know, and even to that point, you know, they have a way of when your phone is off, completely turned off, if you don't take the battery out of it, they can activate your microphone and your camera, and you have no idea. Trust and believe. Get a USB and hook it up to your computer and put it to upload stuff from your phone, you'll see pictures on there you never took, and you'll see things on there that you know are not part of your life, yet your phone was brand new when you got it. Why I'm stopping here is because I do need to share the video. I just went live. I didn't think to go and share it, so people on Facebook and Twitter know that I'm live, So give me a second to do that, you guys. And also, I'd like to know your comments about what you think of the stream so far. Are there any technical issues even in that way? Are you having any issues with the stream itself? And things like that. I'd like to know that. What am I trying to do now? I guess I can let that be right now so I can see how that sounds. I'm going to get feedback. I guess I can let that be right now. Okay, I heard it. Alright, I'm good. Just take me 2 seconds to share this. That's good enough. And I remind everybody that I did this, I think this was 2015, when I originally did this, this video, And one of the things that I want to boldly point out is that you hear me say, if you saw the beginning especially, like, I'm a consistent man, you guys. I am. I'm exactly who I say I am, and all of that. And you hear me say all the time, I'm not here for popularity. I'm not here for self-aggrandizement. Here you're watching a video from 2015, and I was saying the same damn thing. It's like I tell you all the time, the truth don't change. You just tell it. You just tell it. I'm just going to quickly acknowledge people. I won't necessarily read comments. Shout out to KR. Shout out to J-Dog. Shout out to Gab Talk. Definitely, my brother. Appreciate your work, too. Shout out to Daryl Eiffel, my brother. I hope you're doing well. I know that you have a special condition, and so I always love when I see you. Shout out to Victoria Welsh, my boy, my world traveler, Terrence Bowers. I love you, brother. Shout out to King is Black and Loving It. Damn. Good morning. I'm not mad. I like that. Wait, I'm choking. The blood of Jesus. Shout out to R. Pierce, Meech Lady, my girl, Maggie, Meech Lady, and I shouted out R. Pierce. So let us get back into the information, everybody. Again, you can leave your comments and so forth. I can see them. I'm monitoring, and then anything, like if it's anything in the stream you can't hear something, or the audio is bad or something like that, just let me know. All right, because the information is what is critical, and it is premiere. Alright, let us go back to this now. And I'll close my mic.
I'm going to show you some other clips now. Not only was there no plane near the goddamn Pentagon, no plane crashed there, but this one will really say it. This lady, she's an African-American sister, named April Gallup. All right, and you ask yourself, why haven't I seen some of these goddamn people on major network? Where was goddamn Anderson Cooper for these people? You know what I mean? Anyway, this lady, April Gallup, is telling the story about how she worked at the goddamn Pentagon. She was there she had just come back from leave, all right? She was at the Pentagon on the morning of, and so forth. But I'll let her tell it, and then we'll talk about it on the other side. All right, let's go to April Gallup.
On September 11, 2001, I had returned back from maternity leave. I had to get Elijah situated in daycare. I walked into the building. I had to clear Elijah to go to the area. There were some things that they wanted me to take care of prior to me taking him to the daycare. I sat down at the computer to actually turn the computer on. As soon as I pressed the button, boom. And I came out in what is believed to be the entrance or the place of initial impact. While I was coming out of the Pentagon, I didn't see any evidence of metal, airplane seats, luggage, nothing that would give me any indication that it was a plane that had hit the building. I did not have jet fuel over my body. My son didn't have jet fuel over his body. The people that I helped didn't have jet fuel on their body. So again, there was nothing on the inside that would give me any indication that there was a plane on that particular day that hit the building. And speaking with everyone, it was conclusive that no one else in the area where I was located had seen any parts of planes or luggage or baggage or anything of that nature. And it's obvious, that the official story is, it has been fabricated pretty much.
There you saw April Gallup, someone who worked in the Pentagon, all right? Very believable person, clearly has no reason to lie, clearly, this was something you could tell was really affected her, you know what I mean? But here she's saying that she came out through the damn hole that was that was the impact point. And she didn't have no damn jet fuel. She wasn't covered in jet fuel. Her son wasn't covered in jet fuel. Nobody she saw had jet fuel on them. She didn't see any bodies. She didn't see any fucking luggage. She didn't see a shoe. She didn't see any seats. Anything that would suggest to you that it was a goddamn airplane. Nothing. Nothing. Nothing at all. Nothing. Nothing. There was no plane that hit the Pentagon. As I said to you before, do I know exactly what hit the Pentagon? No, I do not. But what I know is I know how protected the MDC airspace is, and I know no plane would be flying around that goddamn airspace without being shot down. All right? And I know that it wasn't a goddamn airplane. You could look and see there was no airplane wreckage there. And you saw footage in the other clip of what a crash plane would look like. No plane hit the Pentagon. If you're any place after you see this video and you ever hear anybody talking about this shit, you tell them that's some bullshit, and you can prove it. All right? So there was April Gallup talking about it. I think that's... But now, on the other side of it, I want to show you now a piece of footage that, again, is the central conspiracy. You got to ask yourself, here it is the day of. Events are still unfolding, not only there in D.C., but in Washington, but in New York as well. Why are these people out there? These are Pentagon officials, all right? Generals and shit. Why are they out there picking up shit? All right? Let's go to that clip. Let's go to that.
This very rapid cleanup also happened at the World Trade Center and the crash site of Flight 93. The cleanup crews were on site immediately, removing evidence before it could be examined by investigators. At the Pentagon, those involved in clearing up the crash site were top executives. This is like the board of directors at a Fortune 500 company turning out to help the janitors clean up the toilets on the shop floor. Why the secrecy if the military has nothing to hide? As if there were not already a number of strange aspects regarding the debris, a news helicopter shows a line of people picking up small items from the grass. Who are these people? They are neither firefighters nor police officers. Why are they prematurely removing evidence from a crime scene? Why the secrecy if the military has nothing to hide?
What the fuck are those people out there picking up, you guys? I mean, if it really was a damn plane crash, why would you need anybody out there? And by the way, anytime there's an airplane crash, you seal off the area and you bring in the NTSB. Whether it's terrorism or whatever, it doesn't matter. You have to understand why a plane crashed. That's the law of the land. I didn't see the NTSB. Why was there just fucking regular goddamn military people out there picking up goddamn wreckage? All right, and what were they picking up? And not only were they picking it up, but you saw they were like, it's like, you know, when somebody's missing and they need volunteers to go find like a missing child or something like that, and they have that, they combing the area, they're combing the area. They were combing the area. All right? That's what it was, you guys. You know, and that's some bullshit. Now I want to show you this piece of shit, this gentleman, and for my black people out there, I really want you to pay specific attention to this gentleman. I don't know about you guys, but every black person I've ever known in my life, we can tell when your ass is lying. We can look at you, and I think black people just have a better, instrument for really understanding if something is some bullshit. You know what I mean? And why I'm mentioning that is because when you see this guy, you know this nigga is lying, period, the damn end. But he's an interesting character because here you had his taxi was the one that was, everybody has seen that shot, you're going to see it in this clip, of this taxi that was in the middle of the road, all right? Like I say, I used to travel that road all the time. I know that area, all right? Why I never noticed the damn Pentagon before I ended up there by accident, I couldn't tell you. But when I drive, I don't notice stuff, you guys. When I drive, like I've never been in an accident, I have a perfect driver record, all that stuff. I just don't notice stuff when I'm driving. But that's not important. What's important here is, do you think if one of them damn light poles that you see outside of your damn house right now fell on anything that you would be able to move it? Even with the help of even one other person? I doubt it. So he wants us to believe that not only was his car damaged by these light poles, all right, but that somehow it left the... Look at the hood of his car. Look how pristine it is. All right? So let's go to this footage of goddamn Lloyd, and I'm going to give you some more background on Mr. Lloyd England. All right? Let's go there.
A car was coming, well, I guess you call it more or less a van. And I asked the guy, would he help me get the pole out? So he stopped. He never said a word. I said, man, it's mighty quiet. It's so quiet. And he never said a word. He helped me get the pole out. The pole would happen to be bent when we pulled the pole out, and the pole was bent, and the bent part took me down to the ground. I fell down on my back, but I held the pole up and laid the pole down, and he got in his van and went on down the road.
This would mean that a 90-ton Boeing traveling 530 miles per hour factored with the kinetic energy of the cab traveling about 40 miles per hour in the opposite direction, would surely cause at least some damage to the hood of his car.
And to clarify, it was the large piece of the base.
It's a large, the large piece that was sticking out across the hood.
Wow.
The pole came right on through to the back seat. If anybody had been sitting in the back, sitting in the front on the right side, the pole would have went through them.
Sure. And it actually was laying on your head then?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. But there are no scratches on the hood.
The sheer weight and length of the pole, in context with the physics of the scenario described by Lloyd, when compared with the total lack of damage to the hood of the cab, reveals a situation that is beyond implausible.
I had to come back in here because he bites my entire ass. And you will notice too, you could tell this is an early video because y'all know how I am now, you know, but I was trying to be nice and cordial and all that stuff when I first started. So everything pissed me off. But we see that, you know, that damn light pole would have demolished the front of his damn car. He wants us to believe that you see a crew out there with a crane when they put these light poles. He wants us to believe, though, that he was just, and it was so quiet. It was so quiet. No, there was ambulances everywhere. There was fighters coming out of Andrews. I'm telling you, like, even where my buddy lives, just near Andrews, all you could hear for like 45 minutes was fighters. Like you thought it was the end of the world. We was in the basement. Anyway, look at the hood of this damn car, everybody. And there's a hole in his windshield instead of the entire windshield being obliterated and gone. More stench of conspiracy. More stench of conspiracy. I quickly, while I'm breaking in, I just want to say, Jessica Allison, shout out to you. Good morning. Ross Hogg, shout out to you. Good morning. And periodically I'll do shout outs, you guys. I won't really read comments right now. I'm reading them, but I'm just not going to read them, like read them. But just know that I know that you're there, and so forth. So let us get back to this now so we can finish. I also assume that nobody is having any technical issues because I'm not seeing any comments that say such. So I'm assuming everybody can hear everything fine. Everything's perfect. Everything's perfect. Like the hood of this damn car. I'm over it. Alright, let us go on. Let me kill my mic.
Okay, come on now. Come on. Y'all know he lying. The dude showed up and he didn't say anything. It was Superman. He just swooped in and helped me, and then he ghosted out. Come on. The whole world is going to hell on that day, and you were supposed to believe that? It's not believable. What I wasn't able to include in this video, because I don't know if I could get the licensing for the video, was his wife works for the FBI. All right, and I'm suggesting to you with that clip that not only was this a staged event, all right, at the Pentagon, and either the light poles were, again, this is why we need another investigation. Either the light poles were, staged, and because he's definitely part of it. But like I said, there's this video. You can go watch it online. Just put in Lloyd England 9/11. It'll come up, and you'll see him being interviewed. And they basically get it out of him that he knows that he was a part of it, all right? There's no way a damn light pole is going to go through your goddamn window of your car and leave your damn hood of that car looking that damn pristine like it just came out the fucking showroom. That would not happen. Again, it's the footprint and the stench of conspiracy. It's all there. It's all there, all right? It's just like telling you that, no, don't look at the fact that Kennedy went back into the left. No, don't look at that. Don't go with what your mind would tell you is common sense. Again, another one of the footprints of conspiracy. Go with only what we tell you, that the bullet came from the back and that somehow made him go back into the left. All right? That's the stench of conspiracy. And it's the same thing here. I'm not buying it. All right? Now, did the light poles look more like they had just popped up out of the ground? Go back and look at that footage again. It's some bullshit. It's definitely some bullshit. But I suggest to you that this gentleman, this Mr. Lloyd England, is, and you will see when you go and put his name in on YouTube and go find the other video, that he is definitely, now was sitting at the table conspiring? No. But somebody got to him and told him something, and he was definitely an actor in the events on that day as they relate to the Pentagon. Period, the damn end. Period, the damn end. All right. Now, I want to go to another person that was on the ground there by the name of Terry Cohen. And there's some very, very interesting things that come out of what she has to say. Let's go to her clip, and I want to talk about it on the other side.
Joining me is Terry Cohen. You were actually working right near the Pentagon. Tell me what you saw. Well, we were outside. We were in a little construction trailer, and we were sitting having a meeting, and we heard this boom. The building shook, the ceiling tiles fell out of the ceiling, and we ran out. We kind of dazed, grabbed our hard hats, ran out, and there was just smoke. You couldn't get to, we tried to get to where it was to see what it was. You couldn't get there because it was just thick. You couldn't see anything but just smoke. And we were just, it was 2 seconds after it happened, and we just sort of, people were screaming, "Run, what is it, what is it?" So we headed away from the building, not knowing where to go, and there was just confusion everywhere. Then 10 seconds later, people came up and were saying, in security, saying, "Just get away from the building, we don't know what it is, just get away from it." But as we walked away, as we started getting away, there were people on the road, because we were very close to the exit, and they were saying, "Oh my God, did you see that? It was an airplane, it was an airplane." Just came, they kept saying it was a big airplane. I kept thinking, I thought maybe it was just from National Airport, an airplane had hit us. 15 minutes later, there was a terrible explosion again, and we just went through the tunnel and away.
What were you being told by security personnel, or were you being told anything?
We weren't being told anything. It was chaotic. People were just running. There was a security guy just saying, screaming to me, "Run!" I said, "But where do you want me to go?" He said, "Just get away from the building," because you didn't know where to go. So we were fenced in. We were only about 100 feet away from it. We were fenced in, ran out the only gate that was, and just walked away from it. Well, actually ran away. It was very loud, very crazy, and very smoky.
And I would assume, like a lot of people in this area, you're basically stuck here at this point. All of the roads are shut down. It doesn't look like anybody's being allowed to leave the area.
The cell phones are down. You can't get away. You can't get to your cars. We've been walking ever since the beginning, and we've just walked in circles. I bet we've walked 2 miles. You can't use your cell phone, and you really can't go anywhere. So we're stuck here. We don't have any information.
Did you ever think that you would be in a situation like this? I mean, this is the Pentagon. This is a very secure building. It's a building, a symbol for this country. Did you ever imagine in a million years that something like this would happen?
You know, the funny thing, when I came here, I work in a lot of secured buildings, and that was the first question I asked. Where is the alert sign? There's always alert sign. And I walked this building all the time. I kept thinking, where's the alert sign? I went in the new wedge, the old wedge. I couldn't find it. So I asked a Jedi. I asked somebody with a military uniform, and he said, "Oh, this building's so safe. We don't post that." So I felt very comfortable in here. Where in other buildings I do work, I do keep up with what's going on in the building. So I never in a million years expect this to happen here at the Pentagon.
What were the people around you doing and saying? Was it pretty calm, or were people really getting rather emotional? We saw a few people running, but from our vantage point, we didn't get a really good look. What were people doing?
I hate to say it, but I did fall apart when it first happened. I was very frightened. This doesn't happen in America. I guess it does. I was concerned that I was going to die, and I didn't know what to do. People were hurt around me. I didn't know what I was going to do. I felt guilty being here, knowing I know people that are probably still in there. My workers were there. I don't like walking away from it, but I can't get there. I can't help them. It's very chaotic. I'm going to have to take some emergency training. I don't know what to do in this situation. I feel very guilty that I'm not back there helping.
You said you saw people hurt. Tell me what kinds of injuries you were seeing, and do you have any idea about the numbers of people that...
No idea. Nothing at all. And the only thing hurt we've seen is people coming out of the building. I mean, people in ambulances.
All from that general section of the building? How are they getting them out? Did you get to see how, I mean, are they...
We were far gone by the time they did that. We were the first people on site because we were only 100 feet from it. It was total smoke. You could not get 15 feet near the airplane because you couldn't see. So how are they getting those people out from that airplane? I have no clue, because you could not see.
Could you see the actual airplane as you were retreating and getting out of the area? Did you see the wreckage of the airplane?
You could not see. It was too thick of smoke, and I should have been able to see on a regular day. I would have just seen it right there. I could not see the trailers and the construction equipment that was sitting there and the construction material. I could not see that.
Okay, Terry Cohen, thank you so much for joining us.
You saw Terry Cohen. Now, what was most important, you guys, is that, you know, the closest you are to the event, that's when truth is flowing, all right? Because it's happening right now. Don't believe what the white man has told you. They always tell you, oh, you know, when people are in a state of hysteria, they don't really remember details and they tend to make things up. It's the exact fucking opposite. Stop believing that, all right? Your first mind is your right mind. That's what Allah has given you. Go and watch that video that I did called The Whisper. It will change your life. I promise you. It will change your life. And you will send me a message, say, Jedi, this changed my life. I'm telling you. All right. But your first mind is your first mind. So you heard her. The main things that I made notes about for that video was that how she mentioned that because the smoke was so thick, she didn't see how would they be even be able to get to anybody that was supposed to be the victim of a damn plane crash. Go back and watch that segment again. It's very telling. All right, because there was no plane, and I suggest you the people that were saying get away, run, run, run. They were some of the actors that were part of it. All right, some of those same people out there combing the damn lawn for whatever they were looking for. All right, because that was looking for something small. You got a damn plane crash and you're combing the area? Come on, you don't need to comb the area for a damn plane crash unless you're looking for the fucking Hope Diamonds. You don't need to do that. All right, the stench of conspiracy, it's all there. But here's the other thing that I was struck by. Remember, she kept saying that the cell phone lines were just jammed. They were jammed. I remember that because the night before 9/11, a buddy of mine had spent the night at my house, and right when I knew that everything was going down, I was trying to call him to say, don't go downtown DC, because he was going downtown to go shopping that morning. All right, so all the phone lines were jammed. Why? Why? And I know you're going to say, well, because everybody was calling each other. No. Now think about it. This is why I'm here to try and pierce the smoke and the fog for you. All right. I came to these understandings over years of studying this. So I don't want you to think I'm just this brilliant person and I have all the answers. It's not that, you guys. I've just applied myself and I want to share with you what I've learned. That's what I'm doing. So now, there's no other time in the country where phone lines are jammed like that, right? Are we not making... In fact, I would suggest you, as many years as we are now, that was 2001, we're in 2014, you would have to assume there's more people that have bought cell phones and more people on the phone at any time during any day that are using cell phones, right? So we never have this everybody saying, oh, all the cell phone lines are jammed. Two reasons I'm suggesting that to you, because then that means that that's some bullshit. Then why were they jammed on that day? I suggest you there was something going on with communications. There was something going on with communications to create more of the value of the state of mass hysteria for the American people. All right? It's also important what she's saying because they want us to believe that there was these cell phone calls that were made from these jetliners. And I'm here to tell you that was a total fucking lie. More vomit, more footprint of the vomit and the stench of conspiracy. All right? When I get into the Twin Towers, I'm going to share with you about how the cell phone calls didn't happen. All right? They did not happen. Did not happen. I can prove that. All right? But there you had Terry Cohen talking about, like I say, and that kind of echoes what April Gallup was saying. All right? All right? Because she didn't see no plane either. There was no plane. All right? And now you have Terry Cohen, another independent source, saying, giving you a sense of the situation that was going on. And it's at the same time that all the shit is happening. You saw people are still moving around, and the event, this isn't like, a few weeks later or something. It was in real time, so it's very important. Very important. Okay, now I want to show you guys, because I've been telling you this whole time about the stench of conspiracy, its footprint, all right? This next piece of footage that I want to show you why this is not some innocent news story. And I think you will agree with me after you see this, that if you just saw it on your own, maybe, without somebody sort of discerning it for you and ringing the bell, maybe you would have just thought it was just some innocent news story, years later that came out and, oh, look what he's doing. No. I'm going to show you this clip, and I'm going to show you why it is fucking evil, and it's a mind fuck for you and our military. Let's go to that clip, and I'm going to explain it on the other side. Let's do it.
Until now, these jerky video sequences from a Pentagon security camera were the best and only available visual record of the final seconds of American Airlines Flight 77. But magnify the image, and in the pixels, instead of a plane, some see a conspiracy. Enter Mike Wilson, a computer animator in Escondido, California, who sees something else in the indistinct video, a way to debunk the doubters.
Here I'm Starting my crime scene investigation, Exhibit A are the lamp poles. 5 lamp poles in all were knocked down.
Using software called SolidWorks, Wilson matches up the evidence, pictures of the snapped light poles, with the flight path of the Boeing 757. It adds up. It's what his company, Integrated Consultants, does. Makes realistic computer recreations based on available evidence.
A lot of people claim it was a missile. And of course, a missile is too small to knock down all of these lamp poles. So right away, you're starting to debunk some of the myths out there. The security booth is important because this is where a lot of the controversy started.
Just like some of the skeptics, Wilson was puzzled. The fuzzy image looks too small to be a jetliner. Then it came to him. The security camera had a wide-angle fisheye lens.
A fisheye lens distorts things, sort of like a car mirror. Objects in mirror are closer than they appear. So you end up, through the fisheye lens, the jet looks very, very tiny.
Once again, calibrate the assumption, and the facts seem to fit. What about the mocking questions on the internet about why the lawn near the Pentagon didn't appear scorched or scarred?
They say if a large jet hit, it should have hit the lawn should be damaged, the spools should be gone. But if you look at the film, you can see that the jet, in fact, flew over the lawn and just barely missed the spools before hitting the wall. So there's a few more myths that were debunked right there.
And the biggest canard of all? No plane wreckage. Hardly.
Many people say there's no wreckage, and I show plenty of photos of wreckage.
Wilson labored some 300 hours on his pet project, but it's still a work in progress. He's heard the plane.
Because I don't mention this when I come back on camera, give me a damn break. Another anomaly just happens to glide over the lawn perfectly, and just happens to miss the spools that carry the steel. Come on. With these odds, you should live in Vegas. Like, not just live there, you should live at a damn casino table. Like, that's where your mail and all your shit comes to. That table. Like, address here. I can't. Alright, let's go on. Let's go on.
May have banked a little to the left, so he'd like to tweak that. And he's got more detailed technical reports on the damage inside, so he'd like to show that too. But even that won't be the final word.
A lot of people that, wow, I didn't see it that way before. Thank goodness for. But there's a few people out there that still get upset with me, and I don't think they'll ever believe anything else.
Wilson said what drove him to this labor of love was the fear that some American soldier might believe some of the internet conspiracies, because they can seem so convincing. He hopes that what he believes is the truth will prevail. Jamie McIntyre, CNN, The Pentagon.
Now that was goddammit CNN. CNN, the greatest fucking devil on the goddamn planet. I don't give a damn. And I actually kind of like Anderson Cooper, some of his reporting that he does. But I also have to, anytime I'm watching him, I have to watch him in context and remember that he is the devil, and that he's a Zionist, and he's part of this whole structure in this country. You don't end up with a show on damn CNN unless you're playing the fiddle of the powers that be. Always know that. Always know that. All right. So this guy. He's on CNN. Random guy, it's supposed to look like. That's just, he's just some business guy out in California that just just came up with some software, and he just had heard some conspiracy theories and he wants to try to disprove them. No, fuck that. Absolutely reject that, people. Reject that. I'm going to show you why it was a hit piece on you. Because one of the things that they do is they always trickle out information long after the event and make it appear to be just some annexed, random, afterthought something. But it's to try.
Gotta cut in for my brother Kai. I'm not able to answer on the chat, brother, because I'm not signed in on my phone. I see y'all though. But no, I haven't, because I'm usually over there for 2 seconds to share the videos, and then I'm off. I don't really check anything. I did leave you a couple of messages on Skype. I will check your Facebook stuff after I finish this, and just I'll respond. But it's good to see you. Very good to see you. Let me see who else I missed. So definitely shout out to my brother Kai. Always good to see you. 40 Shorty, what's up? I see you. Dolly, shout out to you. Everybody else I think I got. Yeah. All right, let us continue, everybody. Let us continue.
To bring home, to continue to indoctrinate the lie. That wasn't a random piece. Nothing that you see on your television when you turn that damn thing on, anything that you see within your eyesight has been planned. I don't care if it's a picture on a wall. Nothing ends up on TV by accident. Even when you see a goddamn reporter out on goddamn street interviewing people, trust me, they control those areas. I've been on scene for live reports. I know what I'm talking about. All right? I'm telling you. Now, but the key things that were in his statement, remember, that you hear the narrator saying he had heard that the plane may have tilted, that it banked at some point. He heard. Not he read the official report. He heard. Like that would drive you to do all that fucking computer animation shit. Do you know how difficult it is for me to just put together these damn videos and edit it? Alright? And you want me to believe you did all that shit because you just heard something? The stench of conspiracy, people. That guy is probably a Jew. He's a Zionist. He's an actor. Alright? He's not just some innocent guy. He's not. The other thing, more importantly, at the end he goes, and the other reason why he's doing this is because he just felt like it would just be so unfortunate, and I'm paraphrasing now, if, any of our military personnel could, start to, was to believe that any of these conspiracy theories was, somehow valid. That's how they're fucking the mind. They fuck you and they fuck the military. Well, it's too late because I got news for you. The military already knows. I know people that know that was some bullshit. All right? You have a whole organization out there called 9/11 Veterans for 9/11 Truth. All right? A lot of them know already. And that's why they've ramped up their recruiting in the military. And they have different rules now about retention and stuff like that. Go check that out for yourself. All right? It's all directly tied to it because troops are people too. And they're finding out that this is some bullshit. All right? And everybody doesn't just do their fucking job. So another thing that's important to remember, if you're one of those people out there that just does something because you're doing your job, fuck you. If what you do affects and negatively affects others, you shouldn't be in that damn job. Because one of the reasons why we have such issue is that people are just doing their job. People have to speak up and speak forward. We need that, you guys. That's how you're never going to change the world. You're never going to change the world. I also want to share with you a buddy of mine who's a Marine. Speaking of the troops. He didn't know about this. And he had just come back from a tour in Afghanistan. And he needed some place to stay, and I let him come stay with me. And one day I showed him a video of this video that I have about 9/11. And he's a decorated Marine, very patriotic. He's a Mason and all that stuff. And he is a Marine, all right? But I showed him this video, and he got on the phone and started calling people, other soldiers, going, "Do you know this shit was some lie? This was some bullshit. This shit was a lie. Do you know?" And I could see it really affected him. It really affected him. It's another reason I'm doing this video. Listen, you guys, this is the most important shit of our day. It is. It is. And we didn't bitch and complain at Kennedy enough. All right. Okay, I wasn't alive then, but I'm saying I still speak of us as we, the country, us. No matter what time it was. We didn't bitch enough at fucking Kennedy and demand answers and storm the fucking Capitol building and storm people's office. In other countries, when their country does them wrong, they fucking storm their shit. What do? We bitch about it. That's it. We just bitch around the fucking water cooler at work, or go back to watching Dancing with the Stars, or fucking Love and Hip Hop or some shit. We don't storm shit. Your government is not afraid of you people, and that's part of the problem. We fear them. It should be the exact opposite. There's more of us than them. They should fear us.
Another quick interruption, everybody, to say that that's the other reason why I'm live streaming this video today, because this is now to pour back on the sap and the sorrow. Listen, we absolutely mourn the people that were killed. They died horrific deaths, do you understand? I get into that in this video. So I'm not going to say too much on the details and all that, but I want to say that, any of these anniversaries, we respect them only for the dead, who weren't part of the conspiracy, who didn't know what was going to happen, who didn't know they were just going to be used as, what do you call it, collateral damage. But all this patriotic bullshit, we're not with that. You understand? We're not with that. We only give a damn about the people who lost their lives and died horrific deaths because they were using a different new energy along with military thermate. There's thermite, and military grade is thermate. Cuts through steel like a hot knife through butter, like in a half of a second. There were people being blown up to bits, literally, in these buildings and had no idea what was happening. All of us were out here seeing it, watching it on CNN and MSNBC, and it was a movie. They went to their graves not knowing what happened. So we absolutely mourn those. We mourn them. But we fuck this patriotic bullshit. And I wanted to get out ahead of the game because all it's just going to be filled ring bells and all the imagery and but they will be slathering on the just the other shit. We're not interested in anything else other than the people that died. That's it, damn it. I said it. Let us go back now.
Period to damn end. Period to damn end. So this guy was not just some random fuck. I'm telling you, that whole piece was produced and staged to make you think it was random. But it was another block in their foundation of trying to solidify the indefensible. And that is what is the fucking lie of goddamn it 9/11. Alright? Alright.
There's your wardrobe change. Like I say, I produced this video over the course of 3 weeks, you guys. Gathering the clips and something that the Jedi never does. Y'all know I always speak from the heart. But this, I had to spend hours writing out the storyboard as far as how the clips were going to line up, so that I made sure that I went through it chronologically. You understand? I don't know what times of day or night different segments are being filmed, because when I throw to a clip, when we come back, that could be another day. You know what I mean? Or I don't know. I know me, and some of it I can see that it's definitely like 3-4 o'clock in the morning. Probably that most of that first segment. But at different days, because anytime you switch to a clip, that's editing, so you can do whatever. Then it's just a transition for you, and I come back, I look the same, everything's the same. You don't know that it's like I'm in this shit for like all these hours. So this was 3 weeks of production on this. So here's our first wardrobe change. All right, let us go.
And by the way, I did some checking on the dude in the damn video. Just like I said, I knew he was probably a Jew and a fucking Zionist, and of course I'm right. I looked up the company, Integrated Consultants. It's owned by a dude named David Aberzisk. But anyways, I went to their website. If you go to Google and go to Integrated Consultants, and you'll see that all of them, I think it's 5 or 6 guys all total that make up this firm. They're all clearly Zionist Jew dudes. All right. So he's not just some conspicuous dude that, oh, I heard this and I wanted to get it. No, it's not that. All right. And oh, by the way, just so you guys don't think you've gone crazy, yes, I have changed clothes.
Let me just break in once again. Like, I did that because when I knew his name, I just Googled, is that a Jewish surname or last name? And sure enough, it is Wilson. And this was before Darren Wilson, by the way, which is another reason why his bitch ass walked after murdering Mike Brown in cold blood. But that, again, it's that extra digging. Do you understand what I'm telling you? It's that extra digging. Always going that extra mile, everybody. Information is available. It's readily available. This is why you always hear me get so worked up over willful, I call it willful ignorance. Willful ignorance. There's no way in 2018 when I walk into any room I should still be the smartest guy in the damn room and can speak on any subject at length and expound upon it. But alas, I still am, because people are asleep, and that's how they get away with shit like this. That's why it was so important for me to do this video when I did it. And now we realize my correction in the video, it was 2014. I was saying maybe it was 2015. But this was one of my earliest videos. So 2014. I wish it had been the 2018 Jedi, because this would have been a lot more fire. But I was still being nice. That's all out the window now. Damn it. I'll kill everybody. Anyway, let us continue now. Let us continue.
That's because this is like a week and a half later. This video takes a lot to produce, you guys. I mean, for you guys that are out there that you just turn on your webcam and then you just say something and then you upload it to YouTube, God bless you. But when you're trying to present a complete idea like I'm trying to present in this video, it's weeks of doing stuff a lot of times, just because you have to gather all the video clips and you have to, you have to research the information. Then I have to make a storyboard because I want to make sure that my clips that I'm going to show you line up the way that I say them to you. And I have to edit down the clips because some of the clips that I take, I only need a certain portion in order to be able to present my story, etc., etc., etc. So, and for you guys out there that don't make any videos at all, when you see a YouTube video at least like this, for the love of God, just take the time to hit the thumbs up, even if you just can't be bothered to comment on it. You know, this is a passion. I'm not just like I've said a million times in all of my videos, I'm not doing this for popularity. That's not why I came to YouTube. I came here to try to educate people. And I figured that somebody that looks like me and sounds like me and all the things that God gave me, I can reach people that probably wouldn't be reached otherwise. And so that's why I'm here. So I want you guys to at least act. It doesn't cost you anything. You know, we're such a lazy society here in America. And that's why big events like this go on and we go right back to watching Dancing with the Stars. This is why. Because we can't be bothered to just hit like. It's a mouse click. You don't have to move. You click. You know, it's nothing. So just click, or at least leave a comment or something. Respect my work. So anyways, like I said, you can, so obviously this is weeks later or whatever, and now I'm changed, and so that's why.
Put some respect on my work. So anybody up in this room needs to be thumbsing up this doggone video and sharing it. Understand this. Put some respect on my work. Let's go.
But anyway, so like I said, you can go to that website and you'll see this guy is exactly what I suspected it to be. At the other part of this video where it left off, where I was in the blue shirt, I'll speak about the video in those terms. So when I was in the blue shirt, at the end of that again, it's all raw. So I didn't know that, but when you heard me say on camera, he's probably a Jew, he's probably an actor, this and the third, I just knew that was, because I know the stench of conspiracy. I know it. I know it. I know it. And that's the big thing that I'm trying to get across in this video. I want you to walk away from this video being able to sniff out bullshit as soon as you see the signs. Don't wait. Oh, it could be, or we have to wait. No. When you smell it, you know it. If you walk in the house, somebody's cooking lasagna, you don't say it's pancakes. You know it's lasagna. So that's what I want you to do, is I want you to use exactly what God has given you. And I'm just here to heighten your senses. That's all. That's why I'm here. All right. So now I want to move on to the again, just so that I'm clear, that is creative consultants, no, integrated consultants. All right. And that guy's last name was Wilson. And just so you know, the first thing I did is I put in a Google search. I just asked, is Wilson a Jewish last name? I started with that, you know, and that led me. But anyways, and so this is the type of stuff that you can do for yourself. That's why I always say to people, there's no excuse for ignorance in today's society, because you can know anything at a mouse click. And in the instant of a mouse click, you can know anything you want to know in the world. Now I want to talk about the Twin Towers. Now, for me, as I said, I don't know if I said it in the other half, but I'll say it again. I didn't know what the Twin Towers were. I had seen them in movies. I had seen them in, you know, television. You know, when I saw them, I go, oh, that's New York, you know. But I didn't know that was the World Trade Center. I didn't know that. And so on the morning of, when I was at the account preparing to go in to fix the Xerox machine, and I was hearing on the radio the World Trade Center, I didn't know what that was until I was able to get over to my best friend's house when we got into the basement, and you know, because we thought now it's the end of the world, and I go, oh, that's it, you know, that's what they're calling the World Trade Center. But I knew the buildings. So, but during the event, the first thing I kept before they blew up the buildings, when we knew that when they were reporting that people were jumping, why are they jumping? That was the main thought. Why are they jumping? Why are they jumping? It's a fire. Why are they jumping? I couldn't get over that. And so the event happened Tuesday, September 11, 2001. It wasn't until 2005 that I was with some of my Muslim brothers in the mosque, and we were discussing politics and world events and so forth. And one of my brothers gave me a DVD that you should go and watch. It's called Loose Change 9/11. Some of the clips that I have in this video are from that production. And finally that question was answered. There was goddamn explosions going off in the buildings long before we saw the buildings being imploded. These people were in there like rats, you guys. They didn't know what was happening. There was, I mean, we were on the outside watching this on CNN and C-SPAN and all of it. But they were in there, and we had one perception of existence, and they had a totally different perception. Imagine that. Imagine what their last moments were like. That, you know, but I just kept, why are they jumping? You know, and then I may have joked, you know, it's white people, because white people jump out of windows. More statistics show white people jump from windows over petty stuff more quickly than black people do. So me in that thinking, I just thought, well, maybe it was that. I at least had to consider that. But when I finally understood, that's why the hell they were jumping. Because there was explosions going off everywhere. Now, you're going to see as I get into this, and I want to say this, the next thought I had was when the building started to explode, the first thing I thought, what about the people going there? What about the firefighters and the ambulance and stuff? That's the first thing I thought. I always tell that story whenever I'm talking about 9/11, because those were my first thoughts. What is, you know, so I want to bring you now in this second half where we're covering the Twin Towers, and I am hoping this part isn't going to be as long as the first one. But as I always say, you can't put boundaries on the truth, you know. I even hate when I'm in conversation with people and they say, oh, you're taking too long to say this or that. You know what? Then you need to fucking go away and die then. Because some things aren't just microwave. That's, you know, it starts out when you're watching cartoons. Everything's got to have music to it. Everything's got to be comical. All of that. No, that's why that's part of the development of the development. I can't even say it. That's part of what's wrong with goddamn America. That we have short attention spans and we want everything microwave to us. You know, so for all of you all that are still here watching this video right now, I definitely want to hear from you, because you're my crowd. You're the intellectual crowd that's interested, and your brains are firing on all cylinders, and you want to know. For the people that didn't get to this point, fuck them. Because they're part of the problem in the world. They're part of the problem. And we have to start to see it like that. We do. There's those of us that are awake. There are those of us that are trying to wake up. And there are those of us that are fucking asleep. And I'm tired of it. So I want to open this up with goddamn Bush. Alright? Bush must have known. Alright? And when you say this to right-wing Republicans who feel some inner need to always defend Bush at whatever cost, all right, which is ridiculous, this video is going to prove that Bush knew. First of all, Bush was an idiot, and as much shit as you guys want to talk about Obama now, he's the smartest president we've ever had, period. And you can come at me with your racist bullshit, I don't give a fuck, all right? It's about truth. Any human being with half a brain, objectively looking at it, would look at Bush on any level, even if he just managed a Walmart, and would have been like, that guy's an idiot, period. Done. What else? You know? So, because he's such an idiot, of course he can't be trusted to hold a secret. Alright? So let's go to this clip of Bush, where he admits that he saw the first plane on the day that it happened. As it happened. Let's go to that.
And you don't have to be a conspiracy theorist to wonder exactly what President George W. Bush knew about the attack, and when he knew it. According to the official White House version, it was at this moment in a Florida classroom that Bush learned the second plane had hit the World Trade Center, and that the U.S. was under attack. But here's what George Bush himself said almost 3 months later when asked about September 11th.
I was sitting outside the classroom waiting to go in, and I saw an airplane hit the tower of a TV. You know, the TV was obviously on, and I used to fly myself, and I said, well, there's one terrible pilot. And I said it must have been a horrible accident. But I was whisked off there. I didn't have much time to think about it.
Now, wait a minute. George Bush was told about the second plane while he was inside the classroom. So you just heard him describe seeing the first plane crash on television that day. But that's impossible. No one saw the first plane crash on TV on September the 11th because the videotape of it didn't surface until the next day. So how could George Bush have seen?
So there you have George W. fucking Bush. All right? Now he's in his comfort zone. He's got his swag up. Because remember, the first 8 months before the fucking attacks, he was nobody. The whole country would not acknowledge that he was ever elected fucking president, except for the fucking white racists that were running around out there and the right-wingers and shit. Gore had won the majority of the popular vote, period, the fucking end. Alright? But you had goddamn Catherine Harris down there in goddamn Florida, and his brother. Alright, the fix was in. And like I say, his father had put Clarence Suck My Dick Thomas on the fucking Supreme Court, and that was the deciding vote that handed Bush the presidency. We have to look at these things in this regard, you guys. If you can't put the pieces of the puzzle together, this is what the bureaucracy does. They scatter the pieces of the puzzle so you can never put it together. Because the day I suggest to you, and maybe I won't live to see it, but the day that the American public all at once puts all the pieces of the puzzle together, then we'll start storming fucking White Houses and shit, and storming Capitol buildings, alright? And holding elected officials hostage and shit. That needs to be the terrorism that goes on in this fucking country. Because we're being terrorized and we don't even know it. It's like I gave you the analogy of the frog. You put it in water and you increase the heat slowly and gradually. They'll never jump out. They'll never know if they're even being killed until it's over. And that's what's being done to the American people. You're right into fascism right now. You're in there. You're in there. And every time they need to put a bigger piece on that, they give you something tragic and emotional, scatter the brain, and then give you this. Like right now, Israel is slaughtering Palestinians on this day that I sit here. This is the 25th now, the 25th of July. All right, but then they're giving you these plane crashes in Russia and Ukraine and shit. All right, and Malaysia. Scatter the brain so you can't focus on one thing. They know how psychology works. They know it. Just you don't know it. And that's why you got to watch this goddamn video and you got to wake up. And you got to share this damn video. Don't just testify, man, he's right. No, fucking go share the video now. Start waking people up. I need you to carry the message forward. I'm one voice. So, that was goddammit George fucking Bush. Now, as they said in the piece, nobody knew that that footage even existed. And I think the guy even got it wrong in the clip. Because I think it probably was a couple days later maybe. But whatever. It wasn't that day. But he's saying that he had seen this before he went into the classroom. How did you see that? I'm telling you, that was a slip. And you can't say, oh, he misspoke, because that's what they do in the media. Oh, it was a misspoke. It was taken out of context. That they use all these crafty words to cover up. The bitch lied. Okay? In the black community, when you lie, we don't use those terms. Like, oh, they misspoke or they were taken. No, we'll tell you, the bitch, you lying. When somebody's lying, just say you're lying. Period. Because it stings the heart more. And you can snap people out of it. Otherwise, they're comfortable in their lying. And that's what happened. That wasn't a fucking slip of the tongue. Look at all the detail. I was in the car. And of course the TV was on, he said. And I saw, and I thought, and it gave personal knowledge. And I said, well, there was an unlucky pilot, because, I used to fly myself. All right? But when Obama spends money on fucking healthcare, you bitch. This guy killed 3,000 people, or at least knew about it before it happened. I don't give a fuck who you are. If you're a white fucking Republican out there, suck my ass, bitch. Don't try and defend that shit. There will be none of that. There will be none of that. I'm not hearing it. Now, I want to lead into this, because we've all seen the towers exploding and all that. I'm going to show that. But there's some obscure things that I'm fearful that a lot of people don't know about. Now I want to show you a clip of a gentleman by the name of William Rodriguez. William Rodriguez worked in the Twin Towers for some 20-odd years. He was the head of the janitor staff. He knew those buildings like the back of his hand. He knew it all. He had the key to the he had the master key to the building, like the master key to the building, and he knew it all. And he was hailed as a hero by Bush and everybody. He was even invited to the White House. There's pictures of him with Bush and high-ranking governmental officials, all of it, and because he helped a lot of people out of the building. They took his testimony for the official report. They took it behind closed doors, and it was never included in the official report. Why? Because he was talking about explosions that were going off before the planes ever hit. Suddenly, they had no more use for William Rodriguez. No, you're not saying we need you to say go away. All right? So let me show you William Rodriguez right now, and then we'll come back and talk about it.
As I was talking to a supervisor, at 8:46, we're like chit-chatting, and all of a sudden we hear, boom! An explosion so hard that pushed us upwards. And it came from the basement, between the B2 level and the B3 level. Screams everywhere. A person comes running into the office saying, explosion, explosion, explosion. His hands were extended, and his skin was pulled from under his armpits, all the way to the top of the fingertips. And he was hanging on both hands. The false ceiling fell on top of us. The sprinkler system got activated.
Two things there. I need you to be clear that they're in the sub basement levels. I think 3 or 4 levels down, because the Twin Towers weren't just above the ground, like they were down underground too. So he's describing underground. That's the first thing. The other thing you heard him say, and the sprinklers got activated and water's coming. So they were trying to make you think that, there's just no sprinklers, and we just don't know about those sprinklers. There was no water, and we just don't know how it happened, and we just can't. And it's all a damn lie. Do you understand what I'm telling you? More lies. The stench of conspiracy. Let me just shout out a couple of people that have come in that are new. Sweet D, what's up, baby girl? I'm reading y'all comments, but I'm just shouting you out. Layla Catherine, what's up? Power of the 12, Nikki, how you doing, girl? Charmaine Champagne. champagne, feel me? She'll say, just like a little spritzer piece. He'll say, just a little spritzer. He'll say, Chardonnay champagne. Understand that. And then, of course, another shout out to my brother Daryl Eiffel. All right, let's get back into the information, everybody, and move through this as quickly as we can, inshallah.
And when I went to verbalize that it was a generator.
And Nook Nook. Shout out to Nook Nook.
All the way on the top. The impact of the plane on the top.
Okay, now that was William Rodriguez. You heard what he said, you know? And I want to say something, you guys. You know, there are still people that exist on the earth that their culture and the way that they're raised, their moral compass is intact. And you find that a lot with Latinos. You do. That is an honorable man. That is an honorable man, William Rodriguez. Honorable. And so why I mention that is because you could see that he clearly would have no reason to lie. And he is just as perplexed as everybody else. You know? Very important. Now, if that's not enough, I want to show you, there's one guy in this clip that I absolutely love. I hope it's in this clip I'm going to show you right now. If not, we'll get to it later. But he's in there, and then but the main purpose of this next clip is to show you these first responders. Now remember, the first responders are all the holy grail of everything. We're supposed to support the troops, and we're supposed to support the first responders. All right? To keep you in that sappy, emotional, wave the flag, my country 'tis a fucking thee. All right? Well, we're going to snap out of that. We're going to snap right out of it. You know, John Hagee, I'm not a Christian, you guys know that, I'm a Muslim. But I watch John Hagee sometimes, and he does this. So I'm going to use that. You know, maybe he knows something I don't know. All right, so I'm going to snap you out of that. Let's go to these first responders, because if we can't believe them, then if you don't believe what they're saying, then go kill yourself. All right, and we won't have a funeral for you because your life didn't matter anyway. All right, so let's go to these first responders, because I think that if anybody can tell it, they can. All right, let's go.
I look down to my right, and the elevators exploded, something out of like a Bruce Willis Die Hard movie. People just come running out of the elevators, on fire, fireball. I mean, it was like, what is going on here? There's something's up here. I mean, the plane's up there, now there's fire down here. We got down to the lobby, and everything was blown out, exploded, everything was... And we were the only ones in the lobby now. We're going, wait a second here.
Wait, another quick interruption, y'all, because I don't know if I cover this in the video, and this is something that I can dispense with very quickly. To my beloved brother, Daryl Eiffel, who said, I always thought Bush allowed this to happen just to get revenge for his father. Listen, that's a very cozy, you know, even thoughtful, completely incorrect scenario, and I'll dispense of it very quickly. You know, people always say, you know, we went into, people have said that, what Daryl said, and then others have said also, yeah, well, you know, we went in for oil. Let me just tell you this in under 2 minutes. I have military friends who were already in Iraq, and while they were on TV telling you nothing has happened yet, and we're going to look at all diplomatic measures, but everything's on the table and all the vomit, I can personally tell you that we already had troops there that were already bombing shit, and their first order of business was to take the oil wells. Why, Jedi? Because what made Saddam and anybody dangerous, and what even signed the death knell of my brother, Sheikh Muammar Gaddafi, was the fact that anytime you decide you're going to use some other currency and you're over the bullshit of this white devil ass America, you're now a target for death. Saddam had decided to start trading his oil in euro. That means white America's got to play fair, and you know they don't ever do that. They still maim, kill, and theft. That's how they do everything. There's no negotiations. Remember, they had over 400 treaties with the native people that were here that they murdered off over 139 million of them. They had over 400 treaties of them, all of which they fucking abrogated and fucking backed out on and never kept. The biggest liar on earth is this devil. Be clear. And so therefore, when Saddam said, I'm over your American bullshit, we're going to start trading our oil in euro. That means they can set the price. They can do a lot of things. Now they went there. They wanted Saddam out. We're telling Saddam and his family to disarm and to leave the country. Like, really, bitch? You gonna tell me to leave my house? I pay rent in this bitch. I'm not going nowhere. You see? Same thing happened to Gaddafi. In Libya. Libya sits on one of the largest oil reserves on the continent of Africa. Gaddafi had not only started to, was going to begin to trade his oil in a new currency backed up by African gold called the dinar. And he'd already gotten other oil-producing nations, both African and Arabic, to join this. He must die. Because that means they have to just be one of. The only people they bitch about and they would like to kill off too is the Chinese. But the Chinese are very powerful. In fact, now the Chinese are in Africa, and the Chinese are saying, fuck you, white devil, we don't want to do business with you. We'll do business with the Chinese, thank you, bye-bye. So, you see, that's another video, I'm not going to get into it. But anyway, so just to clear that up, we went there because he had already started trading his oil in euro, and they needed to quickly get it to be turned back into being traded in the American dollar. That's why you saw shock and awe. And they killed over 2 million innocent Iraqis. The white man is the devil. And America is his head office. Let's go.
But for every window in the lobby to be exploded, I mean, them windows were like as thick as forget it. They were 2-3 inch glasses, you know, come on. They exploded out of the lobby. You know, something. It wasn't from the jet fuel. No way. The elevators exploded. They were down from the lobby. The lobby was over here. That should never have happened. Something would happen there, and that wasn't. We came down. It looked like a bomb went off in the lobby. There was no fire. It just looked like a bomb went off.
I wasn't expecting to see the damage that I saw in the lobby, and the people.
Remember, these are the holy first responders, everybody. Second only to the Pope and the baby Jesus. The first responders. You see, but these are first responders that didn't get a check. You see, because if you shut the fuck up and you don't say nothing, you got a check. You see what I'm saying? And maybe a little medical care for all the other bullshit and the chemicals that were killing people off and still killing people off right now. These people, unbeknownst, were speaking. They're the best position to tell us what happened because they were there. This is what they do. Shit happens, they're the first people to go. Hear this now.
People, the bodies, the burnt people.
He's talking about entering the lobby. Talking about entering the lobby of the first tower.
The injured people. I really wasn't prepared for that.
I go in and I hear screams, and right to my right there is 2 people on fire, burning. I just didn't want to film that. It was like no one should see this.
That dude that said nobody should see this, he needs to be dragged for several blocks because we should see this. That is one of the Naudet brothers who was there in New York doing a documentary on firefighters. Just so happened. I don't count it as an anomaly, but it at least caused me to look at it with at least a side eye. Alright? But look now, this is the lobby, everybody. This is because in the Naudet film, that's how we have the footage of that plane hitting the first tower. That's the only footage that existed. And that didn't come out 2 days later, as we saw earlier. Alright? And so, but this is now what they see because on the Naudet film, they go directly, it crashes, they immediately get on their fire engines, and in real time you ride with them to the damn building, and you go in the building, and this is the shit that you see. He edited to the burning people and the people that were already like fucked up in the lobby. But what you see even here is there's 10-foot sections of marble that was on the wall that's just like taken off. The glass is all taken out. Where's the fire? They want us to believe these fireballs went down the fire thing and oh my god, like some fucking, like that's in Hollywood. And William Rodriguez already told you shit was happening in the basement before a plane ever even touched the building. If it was a plane, can I add. So I want you to see this in context. I don't know if I explain it in this great detail when I come back on camera. So see this now. This is them going into the lobby like just probably 5 minutes after the plane is hit.
Pfeiffer was the first chief into the building. Right away, a guy from the Port Authority told him the damage was somewhere above the 78th floor. But all you had to do was look around. It was obvious. Something had happened right there in the lobby.
You just saw that all the windows were blown out. The lobby looked like the plane hit the lobby.
There were some casualties. There were several people with their hair singed, skin hanging off.
And at that time, we heard a huge explosion. And we immediately dove for the stairs. Get back into the stairs. Let's get back into the stairs, because I had seen what happened in the lobby with the elevator being blown out. I said, if there's another explosion. What I feared, I never in a million years feared those buildings coming down. Never. I did fear secondary explosion or possibly a second plane. '30th floor. We hear another explosion. We hear somebody on the radio say the 64th floor has come down into the 63rd floor. So we said, okay, that's what it was.
Firefighters know explosions. They know them. So when you hear multiple firefighters saying explosions, it happened. And like he said, he never in a million years expect the buildings to come down. He just feared the explosions. That's because not since God has put man on the earth has a steel structure ever collapsed due to fire. Not before 9/11 and not since. Never in the history of man. Yet on that day, you have 3 buildings. Oh my God, 3 buildings go down due to fire. I'm over it.
The lights went out. We saw some dust debris coming down from the B and C stairwell. Some of the ceiling panels fell. Just the emergency lights were on.
We made it outside. We made it about a block.
We made it at least 2 blocks, and we started running. Floor by floor, it started popping out.
It was if they had detonated.
Yeah,
if they were planned to take down a building. Boom, 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 boom.
All the way down. I was watching it and running.
Deputy Commissioner Thomas Fitzpatrick said it looked like sparkling around one specific layer of the building. My initial reaction was that this was exactly the way it looks when they show you these implosions on TV.
Now, the only thing inaccurate about what they just showed there, I mean, they're just giving you, like, the explosions and some of the key stuff that you'd be looking for. Shout out to Angeline. But what we saw, and there, I assume I'm showing the footage again, what we saw was the building exploding and becoming dust in midair. Like you had steel beams the size of buses being embedded in buildings horizontal from the damn thing. That they just showed as an example is a conventional destruction of a building. But you see the Twin Tower is becoming dust and particles in front of you.
Around one specific layer of the building.
Look.
My initial reaction was that this was exactly the way it looks when they show you these implosions on TV.
Banana just exploding out. Becoming dust in front of you. Nothing hit the ground but dust. So I just want to make that distinction, because when they show this, it's just a conventional thing. But their point is to show you how the flashes and the explosions that you would be, that would be indicative of, you know, somebody taking out. Anjane, what's up, my sister? We got to talk today. I was on with the brother late again last night, but we're done now. So inshallah, you and I can proceed now. Holla back at me, let me know something. Let us proceed.
A cross-section from the World Trade Center, weighing approximately 300 tons, was embedded in the southeastern corner of the American Express building. This piece would have had to travel at least 390 feet, maintaining enough kinetic energy to embed itself in the corner of the building.
Jetzt bricht im Übrigen der zweite Turm zusammen. In diesem Moment bricht der nördliche Turm des World Trade Centers zusammen. Wir können nur alle hoffen, dass alle Menschen aus diesem Turm evakuiert sind. Es gibt kein World Trade Center mehr.
You have two 110-story office buildings. You don't find a desk. You don't find a chair. You don't find a telephone, a computer. The biggest piece of a telephone I found was half of the keypad, and it was about this big. The building collapsed to dust.
Anything I've ever seen like that, I've seen collapses and then demolition buildings, but nothing like this. Was unbelievable. Like I said, there wasn't a door, there wasn't anything to be.
Again, remember, second only to the baby Jesus is the first responders. You don't find a desk. You don't find a chair. Remember, there was hundreds of escalators and elevators in this damn building. Let us think about what's in the bathroom of one of these damn buildings. Can a bitch get a damn vanity mirror? You see what I'm saying? Like anything. Like it dust, everybody. Dust. And later I get into the pyroclastic flow. I don't want to talk about it now, but again, I'm trying to help you understand the magnitude. Like this was not. So I want you to understand how ridiculous it is when they say the buildings collapse. No, a collapse. I've been in earthquakes. Do you understand what I'm telling you? I know what a collapsed building looks like. I've been in one. You can still see that was a building, and there's the rebar, and there's the concrete, and oh, was that somebody's couch that they had? You still, this was a complete implosion of everything, and they were using some new energy because you're seeing huge pieces of steel that literally just vanished into midair. Vanished. They also want you to think that all the steel was around the outside. One of the things that made these things amazing was in the center was 47 box steel columns. Box steel columns. 47 made up the spine of this building in the very center. They could withstand anything. They could have stood for several thousand years. And the steel that was on the outside, like when you poke it with an airplane, you could have did that 100 times. Because it's just like when you open your front door and you got a screen door, and you got a little kid and they just sit there poking it with a damn ink pen or a pencil and putting holes in your damn screen. You need to get their little ass. It's just like that. You're just poking it, but it doesn't affect the structure around it. Otherwise, your screen would collapse. You see? So this is how these buildings were designed. And by the way, the Orange Circus that sits in office, he knows. Because remember, he builds buildings. And he was questioning how these buildings were destroyed. This was before he became president, of course. Let us go on.
You found it was all disintegrated, all rubble. Concrete was small little pieces, not even slabs. No desk, no furniture, no computers, no phones, no anything. So I imagine the people were the same as the building, nothing left.
Dispatch, we've just had another explosion. Warren Street because of the secondary explosion. We've got numerous people covered with dust from the secondary explosion. And we got another explosion on the tower, 1013 down 2, and it's a major explosion and what appears to be a complete collapse surrounding the entire area.
So you saw the first responders, and before that we'd seen William Rodriguez. But speaking specifically about the first responders now, these are the people that they held up as your heroes. Alright, every year, you know, they ring in the bell down at ground zero, which you should look up that term, and because actually the dictionary term for ground zero is the point of impact of a nuclear bomb. That's just my loose, you know, telling you it. Look it up for yourself. It's interesting that they use that term for fucking ground zero. But anyways, and every year they ring the bell and they're telling all the victims' names and all of it. Okay? But it's bullshit, everybody. Because, you know, they, just like at the Pentagon, they gave you this mysterious jet fuel that, you know, disintegrated the engines to the plane, took out the entire plane, but yet we were able to get DNA from the bodies, which that couldn't have happened. Airplane engines are made from steel and titanium, some of the hardest shit on earth. You don't just burn that up with kerosene. That's the same shit you barbecue with. You know what I mean? So, and by the way, when's the last time your grill collapsed to dust when you were out cooking out for 4th of July or something, alright? Or when's the last time your mom was baking a cake in the oven and the whole thing just collapsed to dust? Just where your oven used to be is just a pile of dust there now. Alright? You saw how perplexed these firefighters were. And their account meshes with William Rodriguez, because William Rodriguez is saying, wait, there was explosions going off in the sub-levels. I want to be clear about that. When William Rodriguez was speaking, because it wasn't just the World Trade Center towers that we saw above the ground, there was several floors that went, I think 8 stories that went underground. He was talking about 6 levels down. That's where explosions were happening, long before planes hit the building. Alright? So the planes were just to give you a reason why the whole thing went down. Alright? And as we get into this, you're going to see, and you're going to re-see, because a lot of you guys still have psychiatrists say that when you're in a state of shock, that's the best time to tell anybody anything, and they'll believe it. Alright? So that even though they tell you, a lot of you guys are still walking around saying the buildings collapsed. But you're going to see from some of this footage, that's not a fucking collapse. The building is becoming dust in front of your eyes. Damn. You got to wake up, people. I go back to John Hagee. You got to wake up. You got to wake up. That's not a building collapsing. Alright? Have you ever been in an earthquake? Do you know what a collapsed building looks like? That's where there's rebar and shit, and the building is bent over, and it suggests that something gave way. This isn't something gave way. You heard the guy tell you. You heard the firefighter tell you. There was nothing left. No desk, no chair, no anything. There were hundreds of elevators in those buildings. Where's at least the elevators piled up somewhere? You got to ask yourself, where's the elevators? Where are they at? Where are they? They're not there. And I'm suggesting to you that it was more than just explosives. I think it's insulting to the technology that was used to say that the buildings were blown up. Yes, they were blown up, because that's the only layman term that we have. But I'm suggesting to you this was some new energy that we don't know about. Alright? Like, remember in Independence Day, the Will Smith movie? where that beam comes down and destroys the whole fucking building, and it was nothing after that? Maybe this was that. Or something very much like it. Because these Zionists all work together, alright? So one Zionist tells the other one something, ooh, I can put that in my movie. You know, anything is possible. If they're going to do this, then we are allowed to consider anything that is rational. And I think that's rational. Why not? Why not? But you heard them saying, and then you saw inside the lobby. Those pictures were taken before the towers came down. And by the way, the footage that existed of the first plane hitting the first tower, that footage is from the Naudet brothers, who happened to be in New York doing a documentary on firefighters. That's where that first footage that we all know, where we hear the plane and then they pan up and then the plane goes down and hits the tower. That's the Naudet brothers. They were there doing just an expose on firefighters. And that's the only footage that exists of the first plane hitting the first tower. So I don't know what fucking footage Bush saw in the goddamn presidential limousine. Alright? Other than if he had some direct feed from the people that were pulling the shit off, which I suggest would be more plausible. Alright? So, but that's the footage. So that's why we had, because when it happened, and they were with the firemen, and as they rushed to the buildings to, you know, and so the Naudet brothers were there, and that's why you saw the one guy going, it just was too gruesome to even film it. The shit was, when you walked into the damn lobby, like the guy said, you didn't have to know that the plane hit to know that something had happened in the lobby, something there. But that's the first damn responders. Now, after you see that, I don't care who you are, you can't see that and think that what you were told was the official story, was the truth. If you still think that, then go and kill yourself. And there will be no need for a funeral for you, because that will mean you were such an idiot that your life wouldn't have meant anything to us anyways. And why should we honor you? It's that serious, people. These are serious, serious times. And I'm suggesting to you that this is the most important thing that you could have on your mind. You know, not Dancing with the Stars, not Love and fucking hip-hop and Housewives and all the other shit. And the Kardashians and none of that shit is important. That's the shit that's keeping you distracted away from this. The only time you notice this is when this shit pops up too big for them to control, and then now it's on every channel. Just like all the shit that's happening in Israel now. While you were away watching all that other shit, this shit's been going on. Now when you pay attention, they've got their story ready for you. Oh look, Israel is being attacked and they're so innocent and holy. And they're not. And they should be bombed off the fucking map. I will say it. I'm not Mahmoud Ahmadinejad, and he didn't say it, but I'm saying it. Israel needs to be bombed off the map. Go and watch my video about Zionist Jews. Go and watch that. So it's some bullshit. Anyway, so now I want to keep it moving, and I want to get now into Building 7. I think I covered enough there. I just want to make sure I'm hitting the right points, you guys. It's so important. I don't want to just do it. Anyway, so I want to get into Building 7 now. If you go and do your own survey, just tomorrow, or whenever you watch this video, you go and ask somebody when you're just at the grocery store, say, you know, how many buildings went down on 9/11? Just act real stupid like you can't remember. How many buildings went down on 9/11? How many buildings? Most people, I'm going to guarantee you at least 98% are going to say 2 buildings. But they're wrong. 3 buildings. Alright? 3 buildings. So much that people don't know about Building 7, World Trade Center 7, that they actually have come up with a website now called buildingwhat.com. Because people go, building what? So they literally named it that, buildingwhat.com. Building 7 was a 47-story steel reinforced building. Alright? Now next to the Twin Towers, it looks like nothing. But in your town, wherever you live right now, a 47-story building is a fucking big-ass building. Period. Alright? And several floors of it had been reinforced. I think like 8 floors of it or something. I don't know the number. But had been reinforced to withstand a nuclear blast. Anything, all classifications of hurricane and tornado and all of it. It had its own oxygen supply, it had its own water supply, all of it. This was supposed to be Rudy Giuliani's command center. Why wasn't that fuck in there on the fucking day of the damn attack? Another anomaly. And they paid millions of dollars to have that shit reinforced and all done up so it would be the command center for this very type of an event. Every movie that we see where America's attacked, it's always New York. It's never like, you know, Arizona or some shit. It's always New York. Alright? So, but, oh no, not on that day was he in that building. And by the way, Building 7 was not hit by an airplane. It was about 2 football fields away from the damn Twin Towers. It did not, it wasn't hit by an airplane, and it's not included in the official report because it is the fucking smoking gun. Just like we saw Kennedy go back into the left, they go, no, no, because that will definitely mean there's somebody on the grassy knoll. Don't look over there, there's nothing but bushes and flowers. Don't look over there, only listen to what we tell you. Alright? So this is the same thing. No, no, there's no Building 7. We don't know what you're talking about. We don't. But this 47-story building, at 5:30 in the afternoon, you're going to see it in this clip. In 6 seconds, it goes down into its own footprint. Just like with the Twin Towers, you saw the first responders talking about you didn't find anything, like no desk, no chair, no anything, like nothing. But what I will suggest to you is that the Building 7 was taken down with more conventional explosions, all right? What was done to the Twin Towers was some new energy, something new. But Building 7 went down into its own footprint in 6 seconds. Listen, there's escalators, there's elevators, there's bathrooms, there's all kinds of shit. Think about what you know is in a damn big-ass fucking 47-story building. 6 seconds? 6 seconds? Just like they keep telling you, every time they show 9/11, they show the Twin Towers, you hear whoever it is, that's some fucking Zionist on the goddamn news, that's talking about, and then we saw the buildings collapse. No, bitch, it wasn't collapsing. It was fucking exploding and becoming dust in front of our eyes. Did you see the shit coming out like bananas? It's not collapsing. It's exploding, bitch. Alright? And when I show you Building 7, I want to also highlight for you this the owner, a fucking Zionist Jew. I'm just going to leave Jew out of it, just Zionists, because Zionists are not Jews. We need to make that distinction. There's Judaism and there's Zionists. Zionists are not Jew. Fuck them. They're just evil fucking white devils. Period. The damn end. Now, so this Zionist, what's the fuck's name? I'm too mad to even say it. I can't call it, but you'll see him in this clip. He had taken out a damn insurance policy on the World Trade Center to include acts of terrorism. Alright? I'll talk more about that after we see the clip, but I want to show you now Building 7. And notice how the reporters and stuff are talking too, because that's going to be important in this documentary later. Alright, let's go to Building 7, you guys. Let's go.
Number 7, World Trade Center. Heard several reports from several different officers now that is the building that is going to go down next. In fact, one officer told me they're just waiting for that to come down at this point.
Keep your eye on that building, it'll be coming down. Building is about to blow up. Move it back.
Alright, guys. And it sounded like a countdown. And at the last few seconds, he took his hand off, and you heard 3, 2, 1, and he was just saying, "Just run for your life, just run for your life." And then it was like another 2, 3 seconds. You heard explosions, like boom. There's like a distinct sound. This was boom, and like you felt a rumble in the ground, like almost like you wanted to grab onto something.
According to Larry Silverstein, on the morning of September 11, 2001, he attended an appointment with a dermatologist.
Where were you on September 11th?
I was home.
Well, it's a straightforward question, bitch. Where were you on the morning of 9/11? Well, I was home. Took him 10 minutes to say that. This is the face of evil, everybody. You're looking at the shell of a devil. He's 1,003 years old. We've done the carbon dating. We've done the carbon dating on his old bitch ass. But this is someone who has no concept of the hereafter. They are doing everything for this life. And trust me, he's hooked up with some very good doctors and specialists, and he's desperately trying to live forever. Why is your bitch ass going to a dermatologist? You still like some bullshit. You still like a bus. You still like a bus hit your damn face. Because he's gonna say I went to the dermatologist for what? If I had been doing the interview, I would have been like, for what? For why? Why was your ass at the? Why were you at the dermatologist? I can't. Well, I was at home. Hear this lie out now. I'm gonna keep my mic open so I can drag the bitch.
And the only reason I wasn't where I was every morning, subsequent to the 26th day of July, my mornings were spent usually at a breakfast meeting at Windows, an 8 o'clock breakfast meeting.
I want you to hear this very closely, everybody. If you need to turn up your volume some more, whatever you got to do this. Because language, y'all know who have been with me forever, y'all know language is so important to me. Because it's like reading the hieroglyphics, of the Egyptian antiquity for me. I'm a very good listener, and I'm a very good hearer. There's two different things going on there. You got to be able to listen, and you got to be able to hear. You understand what I'm telling you? Miss Denova, shout out to you, girl. You got to be able to listen. You got to be able to hear, everybody. We've gotten the question, where were you on the morning? It's the cadence of his speech. By that, I mean the tempo. It's not fluid. It's choppy, which suggests thought in between, which usually is lying ass bitch. Because you see, the truth is repeated like a record or a video. You just hit play and repeat and replay and repeat and play and repeat and just play the same damn thing. And when you tell the truth, it comes out that same way. It flows like water from a fountain. You understand? It flows like water from a fountain. And when it doesn't, you have to be skillful enough to then your heart and your senses are supposed to kick in and say, stop sign, red flag, what's going on? He's already told us that he's normally for 26 years, I was at Windows and with my old bitch ass and I can't get an erection anymore and I was on Viagra and that shit don't work no more. He said it. I heard it. All right, settle down. All right. And my bitch ass wife who shriveled up, the bitch is a prune, I don't like the bitch no way. And I'm usually at Windows, but this morning, let's take it back just a skosh so we can hear the lies.
An 8 o'clock breakfast meeting.
At 8 o'clock breakfast meeting, said the devil, and he sounds like the devil.
Windows, the top of it. And then going down to visit with my tenants, my new tenants.
Going down to visit my tenants, my new tenants. Well, the fact of the matter is that this was what do they call it? An empty cow, something cow that they call it when you have a big development or a building that's supposed to have like all these tenants and it's supposed to be worth its value in the currency that you take in for rent and revenue. This was like, there was no tenants basically. For a building its size, it was highly underpopulated. Not to mention there was an asbestos issue, and asbestos is cancer causing because remember these buildings were built in the don't have me lying. But anyway, and so bringing it up to code was going to be millions of dollars. So this is a win-win for this devil. He had already gotten the insurance policy just months before to cover the towers with special clauses for terror attacks, and he wanted it to be separate events for each one, and he fought that and he won. So he got one judgment as if the one on one tower was a totally separate attack, and then the one on the other tower was a completely separate, unbeknownst attack, that it wasn't one attack on one day. The bitch was paid. Do you understand what I'm telling you? The good news is the bitch is too old to spend it. I said it. Let us go on.
At the Trade Center, getting to know them, understanding their problems and so forth, ascertaining how we could service their needs better.
To service their needs. Now he's trying to sound like he's like this heavy, executive CEO, chairman and CEO, you know what I'm saying? Like, I can't with you.
And which is one of the first things you do when you acquire a property. Begin to meet your tenants. And
remember, the question that Charlie Rose asked him was, where were you on the morning of 9/11? When somebody goes into an editorial and starts giving you War and Peace, you see what I'm saying? And the history of like Alexandria and fucking Atlantis and shit. That means what? 3 words, 4 words. The bitch is lying. Write it down. Write it. Let us go on. So now we're in War and Peace. He's giving us the history of the world. And all the question is where were you on the morning of 9/11? It's a 2-second answer. I was at such and such. And then Charlie could ask his next question. But no. Devil Silverstein is giving us the history of War and Peace. Let us go.
Start talking with them. And so my mornings were spent at the Trade Center. And then by noon I was back uptown. And so that particular morning, because I have light-colored hair and fair skin, and I'm an annuity to the dermatologist, my wife, God bless her, had made an appointment for me.
My wife, God bless her, had made an appointment for me. Because she's tired of looking at my old fucking mummy-looking ass. He said it. Now, again, I ask you, why are you at the dermatologist? Like you didn't look like a damn at 2. I can't with me. You didn't look like a damn at 2. Now you're 102. Your bitch ass goes to the dermatologist for what? Are you doing a modeling gig? Are you doing a guest model? The fuck? I can't. Let us go on.
At the doctor. And I remember dressing to go to the doctor. And finally saying to my wife, I said, sweetheart, I've got so much to do downtown. I got to cancel this. I've got to go downtown. And she said, you're not going to cancel this appointment. You're going to the dermatologist. And you'll
see that? And listen, if you're telling this story about, and this is how you avoided being killed tragically in the buildings your bitch ass owns, this is not your demeanor. This sort of, what's the terminology I want to use? This sort of melancholy, jovial even reconciliation or recount that he's given about his interaction with his wife. It would be an, oh my God, thank you so much. Like I would normally be at the buildings, but that morning my wife had made an appointment for me, and she insisted, like, because through telling it, you would have moments of, oh my God, like, this was why my bitch ass is not blown to hamburger meat. You see? The whole demeanor is wrong because there's deception and he is lying. Lying. And that's why I tell my people these people are so dangerous. According to their number, nobody counted, but 3,000 people were killed in this building. I freeze frame it. This is the look on his face, and I just randomly froze it. He's looking like he lost a number on Jeopardy or Wheel of Goddammit Fortune. My people need to understand that evil is real from these people. It's real. You are looking at the devil. Recognize what's in your eyes.
I mean, been married now to the same woman for 46 years. You get this sense of determination on occasion, their voices, and I say, okay, yes dear, I'll go. And then just minutes later, received a telephone call to turn on a television set and witnessed this horrendous circumstance.
Horrendous circumstance. Just a couple minutes later, after his wife insists that he's going to the dermatologist, he gets a call, miraculously, in a puff of smoke. And he answers it, and they're like, turn on the TV. And this horrendous knot. And I couldn't believe my buildings. Now, remember, he owns the bitch. And this horrendous thing, like as if it's a car accident. You know. No. This horrendous thing was not like I see my buildings in smoke. And I don't understand. And I want to run down there and find what's going on because I own these buildings. No. I see this horrendous, this horrendous, and this horrendous. Hear this.
The first plane hitting, and then the second plane hitting. Of course, with the second hit, it became obvious that this was terrorism.
Now, he made sure he said that in half a second. He answered that quicker than he answered the where was your bitch ass on 9/11. Because you notice he I saw this horrendous thing, and it quickly came out that it was terrorism. Because he's thinking about that $7 billion his bitch's ass is going to get from the goddamn insurance. So how quickly he said that it's terrorism. But we went through 120 minutes of him telling him where the fuck he was on 9/11. We had to know the history of his wife and his whole entire dermatological history. And we had to know everything about his damn life. Hear this. I just took it back a skosh.
It became obvious that this was terrorism.
And it came out obvious this terrorism. Got to that very quickly.
I remember getting a call from the fire department commander telling me that they were not sure they were going to be able to contain the fire. And I said, we've had such terrible loss of life. Maybe the smartest thing to do is pull it. And they made that decision to pull, and then we watched the building collapse.
Mind you, because I'm going to explain it in the actual video, I think, when I come back on camera, but I need to say this. He's already saying, the firefighters saying they don't know if they're going to be able to contain the fire, which was no real fire in Building 7, be clear. And I said, we've had such loss of life, probably the best thing is to pull it. And remember, that only works if no steel building had ever collapsed due to fire in the history of existence. That's what you need to keep in mind. Before this day, not a single steel structure had ever collapsed due to fire in the history of existence, everybody. Since God said be and the universe began to form. Oh my God, I can't. All right, let's go back just a skosh for context and let's go on.
And then, just minutes later, received a telephone call to turn on a television set and witnessed this horrendous circumstance. The first plane hitting, and then the second plane hitting. Of course, with the second hit, it became obvious that this was terrorism. I remember getting a call from the fire department commander telling me that they were not sure they were going to be able to contain the fire. And I said, we've had such terrible loss of life. Maybe the smartest thing to do is pull it. And they made that decision to pull, and then we watched the building collapse.
3 years later, Silverstein issued a statement claiming that he had used the term pull it to refer to pulling the firefighters out of Building 7. But there are several problems with Silverstein's explanation. According to FEMA's building performance study, firefighters were never in the building. Preliminary indications were that due to lack of water, no manual firefighting actions were taken by the fire department. And these statements, from Popular Mechanics and the New York Times, confirmed that no firefighting took place in Building 7, and that the fire department had ordered firefighters away from the building at 11:30 a.m. Another problem is that Silverstein made no reference to the firefighters when he talked about Building 7 for the PBS documentary. Plus, after Silverstein stated that the decision was made to pull Building 7, he finished his sentence with these words,
And then we watched the building collapse.
This would indicate that the collapse of Building 7 was the direct result of the decision to pull it. As a successful property developer, Silverstein would have gained considerable experience in hiring contractors to carry out controlled demolition of buildings. It's reasonable to assume that he would be aware that the term pull is often used by demolition experts to refer to bringing a building down. For example, here's Ground Zero's post-disaster wrecking crew talking about preparing to demolish Building 6.
Hello? Oh, we're getting ready to pull Building 6.
When referring to Building 7, it was Silverstein who suggested that the smartest thing to do was to pull it.
And I said, you know, we've had such terrible loss of life. Maybe the smartest thing to do is pull it.
And because Silverstein has more knowledge of controlled demolition than he does of firefighting, it is reasonable to assume that he was referring to pulling the building down. In an article titled "Shame on Jesse Ventura," Fox News journalist Jeffrey Shapiro confirms that Larry Silverstein had controlled demolition on his mind on September the 11th. And it was no secret to police and others on the ground that day. Shapiro stated that on September the 11th, Larry Silverstein was on the phone to his insurance carrier to see if they would authorize the controlled demolition of Building 7. This revelation causes yet another problem for the official story. How could Silverstein expect to carry out a controlled demolition when it takes several weeks to prepare a 47-story building for demolition?
Now, here we're going to show you a videotape of the collapse itself.
Describe that.
Now we go to videotape, the collapse of this building.
It's amazing.
Amazing, incredible, pick your word. For the third time today, it's reminiscent of those pictures we've all seen too much on television before, when a building was deliberately destroyed by well-placed dynamite to knock it down.
To me, I knew that was an explosion. There was no doubt in my mind.
September the 11th was clearly a most fortunate day for Larry Silverstein. Not only did he avoid being killed by the attacks, he received a multi-billion-dollar settlement from an insurance policy taken out just a few weeks before. This policy was set up specifically to insure the buildings against destruction via a terrorist attack. This was particularly fortunate, considering the fact that Silverstein was having difficulty in finding new tenants to occupy the buildings at the Trade Center. And it was also particularly fortunate, considering that Silverstein had faced the $1 billion requirement of having to remove the illegal asbestos from every steel beam in the Twin Towers. So, if Larry Silverstein's story is true, then he must surely be the luckiest man alive today.
Okay, after seeing that, you guys, first thing I want to say is there's no way you could ever stand for the Pledge of Allegiance again in this country. There's no way you could ever sing the Star-Spangled Banner again if you live in this fucking country and you've seen this video. God forbid if you've ever seen any damn 9/11 video. Because when you stand, that means you agree with all this shit. And that means you have blood on your hands and God will judge you as such. You have to know that. You have to know that. You saw that fucking Larry Silverstein, who, by the way, looks like a fucking turkey. Can I just put that in there? Clearly a Zionist. Silverstein, Zionist. And there's no way to get around that. And I want to say something else, and this is very important. This is probably most important, because I don't know if I've ever seen this highlighted in a 9/11 video, but this is very important for most people to know. No steel reinforced structure has ever collapsed due to fire. Period. Alright? I want to say it again. Not since God has created us and put us on planet Earth has a steel reinforced structure ever collapsed due to fire. Alright? Excuse me. That's very important to know. Because with the Twin Towers, we saw them turning to dust in front of us. Everything in it, including the people, were becoming dust. Alright? And I find it even suspect that they think that they can even know who all died in the buildings. I mean, if you knew that that person was there and was definitely there and they didn't come home, then yes, they were killed there. But all this, we found their remains, I doubt it. I doubt it. I doubt it. That's like finding a needle in a haystack. You can't. I don't believe that. But clearly, he knew what was going on. Anytime you give conflicting stories on some shit, and you saw in the first part of it when he's talking to Charlie Rose. Is that Charlie Rose? That's Charlie. And, you know, all the detail about his wife and all that. That's the type of language you use when you lying. You know what I mean? You are lying. You are lying. I don't give a fuck. But no steel reinforced structure has ever collapsed due to fire. And I'm going to show you later in this video, which I'm going to try and wrap it up here soon, you guys, because I'm trying to get a lot of stuff in. Because the audience that this is focused on is the person that has never seen any of this shit before. And people who have seen it, maybe they haven't seen it from this perspective and they didn't really know certain things. They thought they knew, but maybe they didn't know. So that's why it's important. I hope you will stick with me. Larry Silverstein is a lying ass fuck. And when he said pull it, that's clearly a demolition term. Clearly. Clearly. You didn't just fucking, well, it looks like we won't be able to contain the fire, so let's pull it. It's a 47-story building, reinforced no less. And you're going to just, go ahead and take a couple minutes and rig it for demolition. No. It takes weeks. Weeks. And planning. And you have to also secure buildings around it and all that other shit. You don't just go, today I'm going to go and demo my building. You don't do that. And he did it for insurance purposes. Because it wasn't, that was just like the coup de grace. It was like, we already had the Twin Towers. Take out Building 7 too, then I can get more money for my damn insurance policy. Alright? Won't get a chance to take the time to show you the gentleman who gave a lot of testimony about Building 7, an African-American brother who mysteriously died after he talked about being in Building 7. When he got there, like there was still like sandwiches and coffee with still steam coming out. That somebody had told him to leave the building. Somebody, and you saw the one guy who was a first responder saying that they heard the countdown. And the guy telling him, run for your life, run for your life. They took these buildings down, and this was all for the value of more hysteria, and the value of the event would be greater, so that you would not question. That's why Bush had unfettered access to anything. Congress gave him all the fucking money he wanted for his goddamn wars that they're now blaming on fucking Obama. All you racists out there want to say, he's spending too much. No, you just hate the fact there's a black man who looks that fucking good and is that fucking smart that sits in the fucking Oval Office, bitch. Fuck you. You and all that know you. Alright? So he had all this, it was Bush could do whatever he wanted. He was the war president now. I'm the war president. I'm a war president. No, you're a fuck. That's what you are. And they should be fucking carted off to some fucking island and tied to a goddamn tree and left for the ants. That's what should happen to them. Okay, I think I'm just going to skip some of the other stuff that I was going to do. I want to get into a little bit of the architects and engineers, and I think this is very important, and I can't do this without including this, because these are people that build buildings for a living. That's all they do. They know structural planning, they know architecture, they know materials, they know it all. This is what they eat, sleep, breathe, and this is all they do. And so when they say that's some bullshit, we should listen. All right. So they're telling you that this goes against everything that we know about building and planning and all of it, and that's some bullshit. What they told us is not the truth. So I want to go to them. It covers a little bit more about Building 7 too. I'll probably edit a little bit of that so it's not too long. And they won't get into this, but I want to say this before I even show that part, because after that part I'll come back and I'll give just like a little something, and then we'll be done with it. I want to talk about pyroclastic flow. Very important. Pyroclastic flow. Now everybody knows what pyro is because we've all been to a concert. You know, especially if you go to a Michael Jackson concert, he's blowing up something every 5 seconds. You know, there's an explosion going on. And no concert is anything without pyro. What? No pyro? I want my money back. So, pyroclastic flow is high heated gas. All right, to just keep it in layman's term. We're not, you know, physicists here. I'm not. But I do know something about pyroclastic goddamn flow. Now, there's only 3 things on the earth that produce pyroclastic flow. Hear me. Hear me. The first one is a volcano. Volcano erupts. We see all this. The signature of pyroclastic high heat gases is the cauliflower smoke. It looks like cauliflower. Everybody knows that cauliflower is like the white broccoli. Cauliflower. Alright? So, volcano. Alright? It explodes. We see all this pyroclastic cauliflower hugging, you know, down everything. Then, the other thing that produces it is a space shuttle launch. Alright? 3, 2, 1, booster ignition and lift off, and cauliflower goes out. You see all that cauliflower just go out. It goes out, the space shuttle goes up. That's 2. The third thing that causes that is high heat explosives. Alright? So when you saw those people running down the street and you saw those clouds of stuff, and a lot of it, if you go back and look at some of the footage, they were even hugging the Hudson River, like people, you know. But all that shit chasing them down the street, that was the building. That was your elevators, your escalators, your toilets, your, name anything, your desk, your chairs, you know, all of it. That's what was following the people down the street. The building. Carried by highly heated gases. That was pyroclastic flow. Because remember, when the buildings were burning, the little smoke that from the fires that weren't even burning were going up into the air, as we would expect smoke would. But when it came down, that shit was following people down the street. It wasn't going up. It was on the ground, following people around the blocks and shit. That is pyroclastic flow. So it's very important that I point that out. So like I say, now I want to go into the architects and engineers so that you can just hear from them, and because I think it's very important to get experts in on this, and then I'll just wrap it up on the other side and we'll be done. All right. And if you guys are still sticking with me, I do appreciate it, because this is, like I say, this is the most important topic that you could devote your time to. All right. All right. Let's go to that footage of the architects and engineers, and Ed Asner, no less. If you guys know who Ed Asner is, Ed Asner was still doing his thing here, so appreciate Ed Asner. All right, let's go.
Throughout the ages, architects and engineers have designed and built the great structures that have made our world and withstood the test of time. Hi, I'm Ed Asner. Welcome to Architects and Engineers.
Random, but not so much. I need you to know that the Taj Mahal is an Islamic mosque, everybody.
Our world.
There. And the calligraphy that's on it is Quranic Arabic. Do you understand? They never mention that when they talk about Taj Mahal. Everybody says, oh, I got to see the Taj Mahal, Taj Mahal. It's an Islamic mosque. That's why you have these minarets. These are what, excuse me, like you don't really see it in this country but there are mosques in this country that have the minarets, and so this is where you make the call to prayer. You understand? This is an Islamic mosque, the Taj Mahal. Let us continue. And by the way, I've seen many documentaries on this building, and the architecture is something that blows the mind of people that even build shit. It's so astonishing. But let us go on.
And withstood the test of time. Hi, I'm Ed Asner. Welcome to Architects and Engineers. Let's look now at modern steel frame buildings. This is the Empire State Building, a marvel of modern architecture. It was built to last. Architects and engineers of today use computers to design and engineer buildings that will endure the forces of nature, such as earthquakes, fires, and hurricanes. This modern skyscraper was also built to last. We've seen buildings completely destroyed like this before, but only when done intentionally. Danny Jowenko is the expert on this in Europe. What did he say?
Dit is controlled demolition. Zeker weten. Zeker weten. Er is nagesprongen. Dit is in opdracht gebeurd. Dit heeft een team gedaan van experts.
Let's compare. Explosives are used to demolish buildings like this in just seconds. Okay, so it's a controlled demolition. What's the problem with that? Well, it happened on the afternoon of 9/11 at the World Trade Center.
It's called Building 7, but it was actually known as the Solomon Brothers Building, everybody. Solomon Brothers, more Zionist, I'm over it. But anyways, Building 7 was officially, it's in the World Trade Center complex, so it's Building 7, but it's the Solomon Brothers Building. Let us continue.
Let's just think about this. Controlled demolitions cannot be engineered and rigged in a day. It takes months. And therefore, this event must have been planned in advance.
Keep your eye on that building as they're coming down. The building is about to blow up. Moving back. We are looking back. There's a building about to blow up.
Did they actually use the word brought down, and who was it that was telling you this?
The fire department. And they did use the word, we're going to have to bring it down.
And these people heard explosions.
We heard this sound that sounded like a clap of thunder. It looked like there was a shock wave ripping through the building, and the windows all busted out. About a second later, the bottom floor caves out. The building followed after that.
He takes his hand off, and you hear 3, 2, 1, and it was boom, 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 boom.
And these reporters recognized it as a controlled demolition.
And I turned in time to see what looked like a skyscraper implosion. Looked like it had been done by a demolition crew. The whole thing just collapsing down on itself.
For the third time today, it's reminiscent of those pictures we've all seen too much on television before, when a building was deliberately destroyed by well-placed dynamite to knock it down.
It was almost as if it were a planned implosion. It just pancaked.
So what's the problem if this was a planned demolition? Well, we are told by government agencies that this building came down as a result of normal office fires. The National Institute of Standards and Technology produced their final report in 2008.
World Trade Center 7 collapsed because of fires fueled by office furnishings. It did not.
This lying ass Martian, you see? And what makes me sick about him, oh, I even put lying, I'm so consistent, I love me so much, I didn't even see this. Lying ass bitch, he looks like a damn space alien. Allahu Akbar. I love me so much. But, a lot of these foreigners come here and they will automatically carry the line for this devil. Shyam Sunder. I'm over it. And this was a more modern building, like the Twin Towers, where you could argue were older buildings even. This thing was up to more modern codes even, so you wouldn't have had office furniture that was even flammable to the point where it would burn something down. It would have been fire retardant. That's why you didn't see an inferno. You see? I can't.
Fueled by office furnishings. It did not collapse from explosives or from fuel oil fires.
But yet NIST admits that they didn't look for that evidence at all. So you're not qualified to say it didn't happen that way. It's like two cars collide. There was an oil slick, like major oil slick on the road. And everybody's going, did you look for oil slick? Well, we didn't look for that. We just know it was like driver error. No, there was a goddamn oil slick. What are you doing? You see? Like I say, he's a lying ass bitch and he looks like a damn space alien. I said it.
What do you think brought down the building?
And what caught my eye is more than 1,300 architects and engineers examined the evidence about Building 7's collapse and disagree with the official report issued by the National Institute of Standards and Technology. I certainly am much more open-minded about it than I was, and it is because of the involvement of the 9/11 families and all these engineers and architects.
You are about to hear from architect of 23 years, Richard Gage, AIA, member of the American Institute of Architects and founder of Architects and Engineers for 9/11 Truth. Now there are more than 1,500 architects and engineers who...
Like, end of story. You have, and the number's bigger than 1,500 now, just so you know. But at this point, you had over 1,500 architects and engineers. These are people who know stuff. This is what they do. And still, no new investigation, just based on them saying this is some bullshit. And by the way, if you had a plane crash, like 3 planes crash in one day, and the type of non-investigation they did on this shit, nobody would ever fly again. Because as soon as a plane crashes, they are on the scene within moments. The ATSB is there. They have their top investigators from all over the world. They want to know exactly what happened, because we cannot have this happen, because air travel is worth gazillions of dollars each year. We have to know yesterday what happened to this damn plane today and fix it. So just the fact that no steel reinforced structure ever collapsed due to fire in the history of ever, and suddenly you have 3 that go down on the same day, that means nobody should be allowed in any steel reinforced high-rise building. They should have them roped off with yellow tape, with, you know, like several guards around it with M16s or something, and you can't get in. 1,500 damn architects and engineers? That's like you're in a hospital bed and 1,500 doctors come to you and say, bitch, you have fucking cancer. I want a second opinion. There's 15. Roll the bitch out. Roll her out. Roll her out. I can't do it. Take her out. You see? Let us go on.
Who say that it could not have been brought down by office fires. They are backed by 9/11 family members who are calling for an independent, unbiased investigation.
I'm Richard Gage. Fires have never before caused the collapse of any skyscraper, even though there are numerous examples of much hotter, larger, and longer-lasting fires in these buildings. And in the case of Building 7, the fire that NIST said started the collapse had actually burned out over an hour before. It could not have caused the collapse, as NIST claims. Yet this 47-story, modern steel-frame skyscraper, which was not hit by an airplane, collapses mostly into its own footprint like a house of cards, as fast as a bowling ball falling off the side of the building, in just under 7 seconds. Listen to the experts.
Building number 7 descended in free fall for the first 100 feet, which means that there was absolutely no resistance to the descent whatsoever.
NIST has admitted it went.
First guy's a structural engineer. This guy, structural engineer.
And going from motionless to free fall instantly, that's a bothersome part of the puzzle because NIST never explained it.
We've got a building that came down in its own footprint, so all of the columns really needed to be severed at the same time in order for that structure to fall the way that we saw.
The symmetry is the smoking gun.
Mechanical engineer.
The whole building completely comes down in one continuous motion.
Mechanical engineer.
There couldn't have been any structural resistance.
According to NIST, the failure occurred at column 79.
Forensic fire protection engineer.
They're talking about a single columnar collapse or failure that resulted in a total collapse of the building.
It is possible that you could have a local failure as a result of a connection failing. But the likelihood of that failure dragging the entire building in such a fashion that all the columns would fail at the same time is an impossibility.
Impossibility?
Yes.
Impossibility.
What I saw, it was a classic implosion. The center of the core, the penthouse area, starts to move first, and then the building follows along with it.
I'd like to know why NIST excluded the document from FEMA in Appendix C that documented the evidence of melting steel. Why is this forensic evidence not being included in the report?
In an office fire, you cannot generate enough heat to melt steel. And yet we have evidence of molten iron. R.J. Lee Company, USGS, and Dr. Stephen Jones's work, all three separately found these microspheres.
In the dust, we found what we characterize as unreacted thermitic material in the shape of some very tiny red-gray chips, which have different properties, and in the reaction they produce molten iron, which is the prime indication of a thermitic reaction, and such a reaction can be used to destroy steel structures.
That's thermate.
What we have found is a modern version of thermite, which we call nanothermite.
There were these iron microspheres present in all of the dust samples that needed to have been formed in extremely high temperatures.
I've independently seen thermitic activity within 2 separate independent samples of World Trade Center dust. My contention, based on finding thermite residue in the dust, is that it happened before. It didn't happen after in the fires that ensued in the rubble pile afterwards. All the characteristics of the microspheres tell me that thermite was involved in melting those steel beams.
So thermite, if it was present at the World Trade Center and created this molten metal that so many witnesses and photographic evidence shows, would also explain the fact that the fires could not be put out at Ground Zero.
The only thing that is consistent with all of the evidence that we have that could cause such a thing is the use of thermite to cut through the steel.
You'd get down below and you'd see molten steel running down the channel rails, like you're in a foundry.
Yeah,
like lava. Like it was lava from a volcano.
Well, the manual gets into thermite, and if it says if you have melted steel or concrete, which we had on 9/11, we should test for it.
It's this fused element of steel, molten steel and concrete and all of these things all fused by the heat into one single element.
We're asking for an investigation that follows national standards. There's no excuse to not test for this. If terrorists use explosives in '93, why didn't we test for them? If all these witnesses heard explosions, why aren't we testing for them?
NIST concedes that they found no evidence for explosives. So then we asked them, well, did you look? And they said, no, we did not look for explosives or residues of explosives.
So the preconceived notion of NIST is that there's no evidence for explosives, and so there's no point in looking. That is the most unscientific thing that you can possibly think of, not to look because you don't expect to find evidence, and in fact the evidence is overwhelming. They state these conclusions for which there's virtually no evidence, and then they ignore conclusions that can be drawn from the evidence.
The Freedom of Information Act request to NIST was denied with the claim that releasing this data might jeopardize public safety. How could it possibly jeopardize public safety?
The destruction of evidence was a criminal act in itself. It was already being carted away and destroyed when the FEMA investigators got there about a month after September 11th.
You can't do science when you are deprived of the evidence and when your hypothesis is the least valid instead of the most likely. When the most likely hypothesis in the case of Building 7 wasn't even mentioned. This is not science.
The scientific forensic evidence, ignored by NIST, but carefully reviewed by teams of technical professionals, corroborates the hypothesis of explosive controlled demolition. We've traveled to 21 foreign countries and 32 American cities, bringing this evidence to the attention of the public. And we're backed by 9/11 family members and other concerned citizens who are calling for an independent...
I ain't see no black people in none of the pictures.
I'm a family member trying to find out the answers to the murder of 3,000 plus people. The bottom line is that it needs to be investigated properly.
Just so y'all know, when the white devil came in and burned down Greenwood, Oklahoma, the Black Wall Street, killed 3,000 people. Let us be clear. There'll be no competition of suffering here because we will always win. Know this. But we're on this, and I've already stated that we're absolutely sympathetic to those who lost their lives viciously in this genocidal murder that went on by these devils. But we're not here for that patriotic bullshit. That's out the window eternally.
Please look at architects and engineers. People all around the world, scientists, all around the world are questioning this. And there's some deep, deep explaining to do.
It took some kind of consciousness raising on my part before I was willing to look at the possibilities. And really, you need to go where the evidence leads.
As an engineer, and I have 3 degrees in engineering, I signed that petition for architects and engineers for 9/11 Truth some time ago because the American people absolutely need the truth of 9/11.
Look at the evidence. In fact, I'll say this very categorically. Any reasonable person who looks at the evidence that's been brought forward has got to come away with the feeling that something has to be done, a real investigation has to be put forward.
We will never heal. This country will never, ever, ever forget that day. We have to demand a new investigation. I want justice here.
The country owns this. We were all victims. You all should want answers. It's not just ours, not just mine. We all lost something that day.
It's distressing for everyone to come to terms with this evidence, but we must pursue the truth wherever it leads. Look at the evidence and decide for yourself.
For the 3rd time today, it's reminiscent of those pictures we've all seen too much on television before when a building was deliberately destroyed by well-placed dynamite to knock it down.
I don't want to be involved in conspiracy theories. There are lots of them. They can go on. We can speculate on that forever. What we really need to know is how those buildings came down.
Wait, I gotta run that back. I'm gonna show you why that's a fake picture and why there's doubt about the airplanes, everybody. Stay with me. On this, you move it just a bit and you've gone back 1,000 minutes. Okay, this will be good. I want you to be watching the left wing of the airplane. It's going to go past the building. How does the wing go behind a building that's in front of it? Watch this now. I'll try and I'll try and isolate it. Watch this now. The left wing over here. Watch this wing. Stay with me. How's that wing going behind a building that's in front of it? Because these are being CGI'd in. I still have, I'm going to be perfectly honest with you, I still don't have a full story on the airplanes, everybody. I've also seen footage where it was clear to me that there was no plane that hit the second tower. That one that everybody saw. We all saw the second plane hit the second tower. There's big doubt in my mind about that. That was an out-and-out explosion. Plus you have statements from witnesses who were right there and said, I didn't see a plane, but the building just blew up. But here I'm showing you where that wing goes behind that building. Do you see that? That's clearly some bullshit. How is it bullshit? I don't know. But it definitely is. And then here it just disappears before it's even gone into the building. Mira, look. Nah. Something's wrong, homie. I got big eyes.
Oh my god! It was like a military plane. It was a military plane.
The ball of fire that came flying out of that one was even worse than the first one. And we were standing there and I said, I can't believe this. And sure enough, there it was, another plane. The plane wasn't no airline or anything. It was a twin-engine, big gray plane.
But that guy saying it was a big gray plane, you know, he could be an actor. You see? When I say actor, I don't mean like somebody from Hollywood. I mean somebody that's involved, that's been placed to say and do things. When I say actor in this piece, everybody. Not like it's going to be like fucking, I can't think of an actress. But you get what I'm saying. So I'm in doubt about the airplanes. In doubt.
Deputy Commissioner Thomas Fitzpatrick said it looked like sparkling around one specific layer of the building. My initial reaction was that this was exactly
you see your cauliflower already forming?
These implosions on TV.
That we talked about earlier. You see your cauliflower? Cauliflower, bitches. Notice the smoke in the building next to it is going up. See this now. See if I can isolate it. There. Right there. You see this smoke is going up. This is going right on down the building. That's pyroclastic flow. High heated gases. Cauliflower. Pyroclastic flow coming down to the ground, not going up into the atmosphere. Look.
You have 2 110-story office buildings. You don't find a desk. You don't find a chair. You don't find a telephone, a computer. The biggest piece of a telephone I found was half of the keypad, and it was about this big. The building collapsed to dust.
The building collapsed to dust. Subhanallah. And that's a firefighter telling you that. The building collapsed to dust. Like, that's even a weird, you like, what?
Okay, you guys, that's, I don't know what else I can tell you, Just a quick summation of everything. I want to say this video has worn me out. Alright? So if you watch this video and you don't respond to me in some kind of way, you are a leech. And you are part of the problem. I mean, I've worked very hard at this. The editing, you guys have no idea, like I was saying earlier on in the video, the editing, all the compiling, you have to first get around the internet to find the information, you have to find what fits into your story and how you present it, and all of that. And once you do all of that, then you have to put your storyboard together so that everything's lining up the way I'm going to show you the clips. Then after I do all that, then I have to put it up on the computer, just not on YouTube yet now, but on the computer. And now you have to get all the editing together, even the intro. I have to get the music, and I have to make the music fit the intro, and I have to put the titles up. It's a lot of work. It's a lot of work. A lot of work. Damn. A lot of people are used to just the outcome of work. So it's very easy to sit back and criticize something when you weren't a part of the creative process. But once you understand the creative process, then I think you have a different respect for it. So that's why I'm trying to share that with you. But one of the things I wanted to point out is the reporters. All right, you saw the report. We even heard Dan Rather. It looks like when you want to get at the under infrastructure of a building, like in those planned implosions to bring down a building. All right, you heard Geraldo's fucking sellout ass. Which that's the only, he was trying to get his respect back, but it was already too late. Because he was one of the biggest people, when they would have some of these 9/11 truth people on, he would, why are you doing this? Why are you doing this? Like as if, how dare you even say our government could be involved in all this shit. But since you have all these architects and engineers, he's trying to save face. Like that would be too ridiculous. Okay, it's one thing if you want to deny the families. But anyways, all the reporters were talking about explosions and all of it, and they all had the language of regular people that day. Until they all got that Zionist memo that said, no, we don't talk about that no more. Alright? There's no way you can go away from this video now thinking that somehow the buildings were pancaking, as they like to say. Oh, the building's pancaked. No, show me a pancake, bitch. Alright? There's no pancake. You saw it was becoming cauliflower in midair. Remember we talked about pyroclastic flow. It was becoming, that's why those long shots I had at the end of the video, just so you could, so no mistake, this is not a collapsing building. No matter what technology they used, this was not a collapse. This was a building explosion. And that's why I ended it with the firefighter saying the building collapsed to dust. Because I think that there's no other way to say it. It was dust. That's all it was. Alright? The Indian guy, too. Fuck him. I don't remember at what point now he showed up, but he was the one saying that Building 7, definitely it was the cause of office furniture. But then you had one of the architects, engineers saying, no. No office furniture in any office building anywhere is hot enough to fucking bring down a building or melt steel, so fuck you. But Indians, and I wrote down his name, Shyam Sunder. Indians come here and they're very quick to assimilate into the white culture. This is fact, all right? And so, of course, if he's going to be at that level, he's going to say whatever the white man wants him to say. Period, the damn end. And defend it. All right? He knows he's lying. Fuck him. The molten steel, you guys. They didn't cover it in this piece, but the molten steel was evident that this wasn't just fucking anything fire. I mean, you all remember that for weeks and weeks and weeks there was hot spots. They were like, oh, there's still hot spots. They're still putting out fires. There's still hot spots. Remember that? And so that there was the women that were taking, they would be taking boots down there to the people that were working down there on the piles, because the soles of their boots kept melting. So they had to keep taking boots down there to the people that were working down there. That's how hot it was. And for weeks and weeks and weeks and weeks and weeks after the event. This was not no damn fire. Or a regular fire. And then the explosions, you see. But yet they don't even include that in anything. Oh no, there was no explosion. And you heard the architects and engineers. These people are all physicists and engineers and scientists. They build stuff. They know all of it. They know all of it. That's who you want on a fucking committee to figure out what the shit that happened. Not fucking politicians. Fuck that. Let's go get people that build shit. Let's put them on a committee. Oh, no. That wouldn't work. Just like they put Arlen Specter, alright? Remember? See, America has a 5-minute attention span. Remember Arlen Specter, in recent history now, since Obama's been president, remember Arlen Specter is the Republican that left the Republican Party and was welcomed with open arms by Obama into the Democratic Party. His old fucking ass has been around doing evil for a long fucking time. Know this. Arlen Specter is the one that gave you the pristine bullet for the JFK assassination. Did you know that? I'm telling you, it's the same people, man. They just recycle the shit. That's why nothing ever changes in this country. I'm telling you, I'm a big believer that some things and some people are never going to change. They have to die. That's the only way. There's a lot of people that are just dead weight on all humanity. They're just holding us back and bringing us down. People like that need to die. Period the fucking end. But the last thing I want to say on this is, you guys, you have to share this video. And you have to share it for 2 reasons. A, because this is the most important event that has happened in my lifetime. And probably anybody that's watching this, this is the most important event that's ever happened in your lifetime. That it was a lie, that it was the biggest lie. I would even suggest to you this was bigger than Kennedy. Alright? Because Kennedy was one man that was killed by a few people. Alright? Yes, he was the president. That makes it big. But this was 3,000 people. Alright? This was a major event. A major event. But more than that, you owe it to the people that died in those buildings. I want you to hear me on this. If you go away from this video untouched by this, you're hateful and you're evil, and you need to examine your emotional and moral base. I mean that. Those people that died in those buildings, their last moments, we're never going to know. But we can speculate that they were terrified, terror-filled, and that they were terrified. There were explosions going. You heard William Rodriguez. There was explosions going off those buildings long before any plane hit the damn building. Ever. And that they were so insane, and my God, what do I do, that you would jump out of a window. Yes, I probably would have jumped out of a damn window. But we can't sit back, because if we allow this, and that was 2001, this is 2014. There's not been any major uprising in this country. When are we going to storm the White House and storm the Capitol buildings and shit and demand answers? Because there will be a bigger one. There will be. And it will be because you didn't bitch about this like they didn't bitch about Kennedy, that another one will happen. You can't do this. For the sake of the families, you've got to share this video, and whatever you want to type when you share it, you got to let people know this has to go forward. Every time we see a viral video, that every time I turn up on the news, oh, look at the video that went viral, it's always some bullshit. I've seen 9/11 videos, like documentaries, that have like over 3 million views and stuff like that. I never hear about them on the news. I'm telling you, the power is always with the people. If you don't know you have the power, you don't exercise it. I was a corrections officer for 3.5 years. There was always more inmates than there were us. They could have taken the institution anytime they wanted, but they were under an implied sense of inferiority. I always say this. And so that's what you're suffering from. I'm telling you to break that now. You've got to share this video. And you've got to feel passionate about it. And you've got to express your passion to the people that you pass it on to. You've got to tell them, you've got to watch this, you've got to watch this. Because what happens is once it gets out there and gets in circulation, people start talking. We can't just use this medium. I can reach as many people as I want to now. So can you. We can't use this for foolishness. And by the way, I will suggest to you, if people were using it for stuff that was really important, YouTube would have been shut down a long time ago. The Zionists would have seen to that. But it still exists, and we got to use it for good while we can. Otherwise, they're gonna cut this off, and we won't be able to communicate with each other. I'm promising you this. I know how these things work. I've watched the signs. I know how shit goes. And what I attempted to do in this video was to help you to understand and really know when you smell the stench of conspiracy, exactly what it looks like in its incubation, and when it comes to fruition, you should know now what the stench of conspiracy looks like, especially when you have anomalies. Anomaly after anomaly after anomaly. You can't have that many goddamn anomalies. If you have that many anomalies on one fucking critical event in one fucking day, then you need to take your ass to Vegas, because you're going to win every goddamn thing. Alright? Because, and by the way, if you were in Vegas and you, oh my god, I just went over here and I won on the crap table. Oh my god, I just hit $1 million on the slot machine. Pretty soon security's going to be standing around you going, what does this motherfucker know? He must be in here cheating some kind of way. It would be unbelievable. They would be suspicious of you. And so you have to be suspicious about this. No steel structure has ever collapsed due to fire in the history of mankind. Yet 3 buildings do it on the same day in the same place during this fucking event? Come on. You can't have that. You can't. You can't have it. And I'm not going to even rehash the Pentagon. We talked about that early on in the video. But you guys, do this for the families. This is a human issue. This is not Democrat, Republican, Independent. This is a human issue. 3,000 people died. And I suggest to you their last minutes were worse than anything anybody would ever want to experience. And you can't sit back. You can't. You have to do something. And if all you can do, if you're not willing to be an activist, if all you can do is share this damn video, then goddamn it, do it. We owe it to them. So much of our strife in this country is because we're not helping each other. The littlest thing we could do to help each other, we won't do it. We wait till some big event like 9/11 happens. Everybody's all united and we're together. After 9/11, people wouldn't even cut you off in a parking spot. They'd wave you in. You know, they'd let you go in front of them in a grocery line and all of it. We had a glimpse of real humanity. That's one of the good things that came out of 9/11 for about 10 minutes. And then it was over. And then everybody went back to being selfish and hateful. I'm asking you, if you're seeing this video, I'm going to say it one more time. And especially if you come through this far to the end, you've got to share this video. And you've got to make it important. And you've got to tell people, and you've got to bring it up when it's not even the conversation. You just got to bring it up. When somebody's talking about like the baseball game or something, you just got, did you guys hear about 9/11 or whatever? Just bring it up. Because this is more important than anything that's going to be being discussed at any time, anywhere on the fucking planet. Because everything that's happened since it is to our detriment and in favor of the ones that committed this fucking crime. I'm sick of it. This is from my The Jedi Speaks series. This is the Jedi. Thank you so much for this.
So that brings us to our conclusion, everybody. And I still feel the same now as I did then, and I always will. What you don't know is there at the end I was actually holding back tears in that portion, because I really do feel that. There's even footage out there of, there's a 911 operator on the phone. You could tell it's a sister. And she's talking to somebody in the building. It's called Phone Calls from the Towers, I think, or something like that. You can go and try and look that up. And the dude is saying, am I going to die? Like, what's going on? He has no idea what's going on. Maybe they're in the building. They're not watching CNN and C-SPAN and MSNBC and all that and Fox. They're in a different world. Explosions are happening everywhere around them. People are being killed. People are being blown out of windows even. And then you saw all those firefighters standing in the lobby and you had motherfuckers that know they planning to blow up them damn buildings. We were looking at dead men walking, literally. Nobody in there expected they were in that much danger, other than just the normal dangers that they would face as firefighters. You feel me? I mean, this is just a crime against all fucking humanity, but it shows you why we have to be over this patriotic bullshit. Like, it has no meaning at all to humanity. None. You know, like, forget Colin Kaepernick and these people burning their goddamn sneakers and shit. Fuck all of them. This is the reason why nobody says the Pledge of Allegiance and nobody stands for the fucking national anthem. Nobody. Because for what? Because when you do, you co-signing on this. You still gonna say America's so great and our flag means more than this bullshit? Show me a real investigation and maybe I'll stand for this shit. Maybe, just maybe. I never will, because I'm an African. I never will stand for this shit. I basically mean that in jest, but my point is still valid. And now today, it's about just reslathering on this patriotic bullshit, a lot of flags waving and, you know, long shots, you know, long telescopic shots from cameras and, you know, commentators speaking in certain voices over the news and, you know, keeping it all very serene and you know, on this tragic day and we were attacked and no the fuck we weren't. There's never been a terrorist attack in this bitch. Nobody has attacked America. I wish they would. And the day is probably marching steadily forward because everybody around the earth has a reason to be pissed off at this fucking white devil and want their damn heads. That's real. That's real. You even have nuclear reactors in South Africa and they're trying to start shit with them. They even staged a break-in to make it seem like the facility is not safe and all that. They just don't want motherfucking Africans to have fucking nuclear power to be able to bomb they bitch the same way they bomb everybody else. I say anybody on the planet that wants a fucking nuclear bomb and can build a bitch should be doing it now. Just so when this white devil comes for you, you can stand up to him and say, what bitch, I've got one. What do you want to do? Because they're cowards. We see this in every day, from on a large scale down to the microcosm. Cop rolls up on a kid with his fucking gun and badge. He approaches a black man. If he was just in regular clothes, he would never go near the brother because he knows one-on-one he will be annihilated and crushed and turned to dust. Period. They only attack countries that can't defend themselves. North Korea waves their damn thing every day. Look, we're testing another nuclear. Ooh, is that another nuclear bomb we're testing? And they huff and they puff and they talk their shit, but they don't do shit to North Korea. Nothing. You see? That's the way. But you need to know that Tuesday, September 11, 2001 was a day of high evil. And that's why I began with the Kennedy assassination. Because the pathologies are the same, but also they're connected by the fact that you have a dumb-ass American public that doesn't storm their fucking government and demand shit. Other countries, they storm their shit, like threaten the lives of motherfuckers in power that we're over your corruption bullshit and we will remove your ass by any fucking means necessary. They depend on you being a docile group that doesn't do a damn thing about anything but bitch about it. This is the singular most important event in our lifetime because it affects everything else. It has affected and changed and broadened their foreign policy, which just means our domination over people of color around the earth. I remind you that America has over 175 military bases that reside around the earth in other countries, but nobody has a fucking base here. Why do you need a base in fucking all the countries on earth? Why do you need that? Nobody else is. Because the only person on the earth that studies war and destruction of all humanity is white people. That's real. You don't have to like it. It's going to be true whether I say it or not. Period. But nobody has a base here. Because all they study is destruction and murder of humanity. And then you've got your Patriot Act. You see? And this is why when you go to the airport, you got to take off your shoes, and you got to show them your ass, and you got to take off your damn underwear, and you got to do all the bullshit. It's directly related to this. And know this, those x-ray machines that they have, they staged that Christmas bomber, the underwear bomber, it was Abdul Muttalib or something like that, the African kid. They rushed him through every fucking passport and what you call that, customs and all that shit. He was placed on that airplane because Chertoff, who was in the damn Bush administration, he owns the company that has those machines, and he couldn't get people to buy them. As soon as that shit happened, boom, they start putting x-rays in all the goddamn airports, and he made gazillions. Human life is nothing for these people because they are the devil. They don't believe in God. They don't believe there's anything after this, and they don't think they have to face judgment. This is also why they're giving you that Christian vomit. Because can you imagine if this entire country and all the peoples on the earth were Muslim, they would never be able to pull this shit off. Because Muslims will fight to the death, and we will give our life for what is right, because we fear only Allah, the one that created all things, the creator of all existence. All existence. And they give you this milk toast, soft ass, soggy cereal ass story of 19 people with fucking box cutters. Really, bitch? And the other thing I never got back to, I'm going to say this last, that I never got back to in the video. Here's why we know the phone calls never happened from airplanes, everybody, on cell phones. Because the technology didn't exist. It still doesn't exist to this day. Well, didn't exist at that time for you to be able to make a cell phone call in a airliner moving at the speeds that they cruise and the altitudes that they fly. And just so happens a few years after 9/11, American Airlines took out this huge op-ed in all the major newspapers proclaiming that they look at the new technology we've installed cell stations on our airplanes now. Passengers can now make calls from the airplane to the ground at cruising altitude. Why would they spend all that money to do that big ass ad campaign when it worked so well in 2001? Because it didn't exist. Those phone calls did not happen. You need to also know something about the stock market. Put options. Put option is when you put something on the stock and you're betting, basically, to put it in casino terms for you, you're betting that a stock will fall. 2 weeks before the event, you had unheard of put options being put on American and United Airlines. Those people made out like bandits. Do you understand what I'm telling you? And finally, the last thing I will say is this. This is why it's important to interest yourself in knowledge about people and things and places and all this kind of stuff that you don't think is of any value to you or doesn't pertain to you. I know as a Muslim, when they proclaimed that Osama bin Laden, one of the last tapes they put out about him in some tent, saying that, and they were giving you some English translation, which probably wasn't the shit, because you don't speak Arabic and can't read it and can't do anything with it. And supposedly he's sitting there saying how they were surprised that they were so effective at the way that they had destroyed the buildings. But check this. This is your punchline. First of all, the guy in the video was not bin Laden. He was not my brother, Osama bin Laden, who was a Muslim. The brother in the video, according to the FBI's profile of Osama bin Laden, he's left-handed. The dude in the video is writing with his right hand. But worst of all, he's wearing a gold ring, which is against Islamic law. Period. You want to tell me somebody's an Islamic fanatic? That means they cross every T and dot every goddamn I. They would never be seen even dead in their cold grave with gold. Muslim men do not wear gold. Period. They also want you to believe that they have cockpit voice recorders that claim that as Muhammad Atta was flying the first plane into the first tower, they were saying Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar. This is more bullshit. They're counting on your ignorance of Islam. Any Muslim knowing that that death is imminent says Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah wa ashhadu an Muhammadan Rasulullah. Period. You don't say Allahu Akbar. You don't. You understand? So even from that angle, I'm able to determine that this was a lie. On top of that, at least 9 of these suspected hijackers have been proven alive in other countries. Proven. And you know what their answer was for that? Well, we were never really sure about the identity of the complete identity of all the hijackers. Really, bitch? Because you told us that Hani Hanjour's, after the second plane hit the tower, you told us that Hani Hanjour's ID went through all the fucking fireball and the rage of Satan and all of it. The engines and the people and everything else was destroyed, but somehow his passport, which is made of paper, ends up in pristine condition right there on the New York sidewalk, only to be found by fucking investigators and nobody else. You can't make this up. You can't make this up. 9/11 is some bullshit. It's not a day for patriotism at all. If anything, it's a day to burn the fuck out of the flag and defecate on the bitch. But to always have some heartfelt memorial or something like that for those people who died a horrendous death. We know as Muslims that the angel of death and all the angels, Allah tells us they are quick to their duty and they're never late. And I believe that those people's souls were not there at the time that their bodies went through those horrific things. They saw the angel of death and they were gone. That's it. But before that, there had to be some perception that something was terrifyingly going on. This is my prayer for them. This is the Jedi.